Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Castle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, or stream us anywhere with the Moody Radio app, other streaming services, and at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
All American Social Security information could be compromised. It's 6 o'clock. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. Reports say hackers stole data from the National Public Data and tried to sell it, but then posted it online for free. The group claims to have nearly 3 billion records of personal data from North America and the UK. Authorities have arrested and charged a man they say stole a vehicle yesterday from the parking lot of an Akron gas station with a child inside. Police say the suspect, 21-year-old Jaden White, stopped and removed the 2-year-old boy from the vehicle while being pursued by police. The child was recovered safely. And state officials are urging Ohioans to learn how to help when someone is experiencing a medical emergency. The state's Department of Public Safety and Ohio Emergency Medical Services are launching an awareness campaign called Every Minute Counts. Leaders of the initiative say the goal is to encourage citizens to learn how to perform hands-only CPR and to use an AED device to assist someone who is having a sudden cardiac episode. Sports and weather coming right up.
Moody Radio is thankful for support from Affirm Films and the Kendrick Brothers, bringing to theaters The Forge. Isaiah Wright needs to chart a better course for his future. Through prayer and biblical discipleship from a new mentor, Isaiah begins to discover that God's purpose for his life is greater than he could ask or imagine. The Forge, in theaters August 23rd. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested. More information at theforgemovie.com.
In sports, Deshaun Watson will not play against the Vikings in the Browns' preseason game number 2 tomorrow afternoon, but the Steelers plan to play Russell Wilson against the Bills Saturday night for that team's second preseason game. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Mostly cloudy with a chance of showers, a chance of thunderstorms this afternoon as well, highs in the mid-80s. Currently, cloudy and 72 in Cleveland. Akron and Canton, cloudy and 72 as well. And Lorraine and Elyria, cloudy and 69 degrees.
It's time for your moron moment.
Whether you have health insurance or not, it often pays to do some detective work while filling out your prescriptions. If you don't have insurance, you can save up to 80% on generic medications and 40% on name brand drugs through Amazon Pharmacy and RX Pass, or find medications nearly at cost at Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drug Company. Even if you have insurance, a prescription drug card could help save you money. You can ask your pharmacist to run the cost using your insurance and the prescription drug card to find out which option is cheaper. And that's your Moron Moment. And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 6:03 with Moody Radio News.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
WCRF, Mornings with Brian. It's going to be a fun day. Not only do we have Ron. Hey, Ron.
Yes, hello.
Lauren's here, and for Daria as well as herself today. That's kind of fun. She's annoyed that I've already talked to her. Hi.
Yeah, well.
You're spinning all the plates because Daria's gone.
Not all of them, just 2 of them.
Like your plates and then her 16 plates?
Yeah, exactly.
So the live stream's going.
Live
Thanks to
stream's
Lauren.
going, yeah. We're here. Hi.
Oh, Lauren, you're the best. And then we thought, why not bring in a friend/government official for a Friday? Rob Fenn in today.
Woo! Rob Fenn's here. Wake up, everybody. If I'm up, you got to be up too.
We are so glad you came in. You normally get up this early?
You said get up this early. I may be awake this early.
But you're not like in front of people.
Exactly, not in front of people. So, yeah, I can wake up. I don't know what it is, 4 a.m. Doesn't matter if I went to sleep at 2 a.m. I wake up around 4 or something.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, God, you trying to tell me to pray? What's going on? What's going on?
Maybe.
Yeah, then I'll fall back to sleep and get out to my exercise probably around 6 a.m.
You exercise?
Yeah.
Good for you.
You
Yeah.
exercise.
What are you doing?
Question mark.
Yes. Well, I like to say this. Once you get over 50, this is just my opinion, just me.
You tell them.
Yes.
Excuse me, I got 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't even need to take notes yet.
To get there, yeah. But I say that when you're young, you work out. When you get older, you exercise. So I'm exercising.
Oh, I see.
So
I see.
you're doing like bicep curls and push-ups and
Yeah, and then
Pull-ups
I start on the treadmill. I have a little routine where I'm doing certain dumbbells, and and I watch some
Wow.
young guys what they do on the video, and I try to incorporate them. Like, oh, they said 10, I'm gonna do 6.
wow, Rob Fenn, look at you.
I say 10, I'm doing 6.
I work out a little bit.
You work outside a little bit.
Well, yeah,
Got him.
yeah, that's true.
Got him.
That I go outside. I mean, it's a long walk to my car.
Hello, that's a
There you
start.
go.
That's a start.
Not that long.
Lauren works out, don't you?
I do.
You even set up you're out in the garage now.
Yeah, I put a swing in the garage for my almost 11-month-old so that he won't bother me. So I just push him real hard so he swings a lot and then do some stuff. And then when it's time to push him again, I'll push him again.
You doing Taibo out there or something? Or
No.
Billy Blanks.
Billy
No.
Blanks. Oh, yes.
I tried that once.
Billy Blanks workout.
Yeah, my wife was into it, and we were living in Minneapolis. We were just married, had a couple of kids, and I decided I should work out before work. And I tried it, and I did it one
tried
day,
it.
and I was like, I don't like this. I like not working out better.
Yeah.
So but I was like, punching and kicking and doing the whole thing with Billy, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, one, I like non-complacent, not non-complacent. What's the word? Non-compliant individuals, and I actually admire that about you.
What, that I refuse to work out?
Not that you refuse, but that you're comfortable with it.
Oh, yeah, I don't care if
I
people
actually
think it's
admire
ridiculous.
that. Now,
Thank you.
yeah, because your ability not to, as men, we hear that all the time. Guys will walk up to you, and it's not said, but it's known. They look at your build and what have you. All right, you work out. What do you do to keep yourself fit? It's just natural, but it's natural for you just to say, "I'm good. I don't have to do that."
I don't do that. I have better things to do, like not do that.
Yeah, okay.
I could say I have better things to do, but I don't have better things to do at all.
But
I just
I
don't
like
do it.
I like the fact of the endorphins, how it feels afterwards. And I like to just keep myself healthy.
I don't think I
it helps
have.
my mind.
I don't think I have endorphins. I don't think
You
I was
do.
given those.
You do.
I've had periods where I do like running, where I go for a run, and what happens is I'm miserable while I'm running. I don't enjoy it, and I end up where I started, more tired than I was when I left.
What about after?
That's what I'm saying. I get back and I'm tired again. I'm like, wow, I'm more tired. I'm sweaty. Didn't enjoy that. There's no endorphins. The end.
What are you doing when you're running? What are you thinking about?
Listening to music, trying to pretend I'm not running, because running is dumb.
Really?
Unless someone's chasing you, and it's a really good idea. but-
Pretend I'm not running.
Really? See,
I'm miserable.
I have the moment, like when I drove in today, I will turn the car, not the car off, can't do that. Turn the radio off, silence. Just me, myself, and my thoughts. Same thing when I run. I can just have silence.
Wow, I wish I could do that.
Yeah, just my mind. My point, I'm leading this back to you. You're a mental type person. So
I'm very mental in
running
many ways,
will
yeah.
give you that mental stamina to allow you just to have those thoughts, whether it's you and God thinking about it, whether it's you and thinking about how could I better spoken to my wife. That's what running does for me. I'm
So you're
incorporating that.
thinking. You're processing.
I'm processing that. Yes, or I'm just saying, look at the grass. The wind is blowing west. My mind, I have an opportunity to just be me.
Wow.
When I run, treadmill or outside. So I'm saying it's a natural thing. Unfortunately, in sports, everyone uses running as a punishment. Football players, you get in trouble. You got to run.
Yes.
Basketball, you're right.
Yeah.
And so it stays with you. But I'm not racing anyone. I'm just enjoying the moment. And this is my moment to just relax, get my mind together, and move forward. It doesn't have to be a task. It's just a moment with myself.
Lauren's given me a look as if that's how she handles it when she works out. You don't sit there and like process life, do you?
Oh no, all of my moments have to be filled with noise.
Are you thinking as the noise is going? What are you doing when you're working out? Counting the moments till it's over?
Basically, yeah.
And that's it. That's the problem. Yeah. I mean, because it becomes a task,
Yeah, just get it over with.
Yes, right.
It's not the journey.
Instead, it should just be something you're just doing for yourself to get yourself together, becoming a better person. The exercise profits the body little. Didn't say none. biblical.
Amen.
But,
I know Lauren pretty well by now, so I can look at her face and go, and I can hear her saying, pass.
right.
That's how she says stuff. Like, I was like, hey, you should try this recipe I made.
Pass.
Pass. Like, you're already like,
Pass.
nope, not doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just doing it to get it over with. I know I need to, so I'm going to do it, but I want to get it over with.
Yes. And I don't want to chase little kids when I first, when my kids were little. I didn't want to be out of energy.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I'm
want to
always
have
out
that.
of energy.
Yeah, but I
You
think
have
you're
to
not
build
giving
it
yourself
up.
enough credit. Yes, I think you can do it.
Rob Fenn, you're such a motivator.
I don't
You
know if I
are.
am, but hey,
You
I'm just telling
are.
the truth.
You're also a former roller skater, which I get really excited about.
Yeah, I
Here
love
we go.
that.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you thought you were going to get away from that?
Right.
Like, I grew up in this place. We had Skateville when I was a kid.
Skateville.
Skateville.
USA.
No, just Skateville.
Just Skateville.
And it was gross back then. I think it's still there.
Right.
They don't really care about taking care of this place because it's really about roller skating. That's what it's about, right?
Right.
And we would go there on field trips and stuff. But it was just, people out there just going in circles.
Yes.
And then when I moved to Chicago and my kids went to a roller rink on the south side of Chicago,
There
I
you
was
go.
like, this is how it's supposed to be done.
Oh, they bring it. Yes.
I'm watching people like literally going around dancing, doing spins.
Looks very fun.
It's
Yes.
unbelievable. Like,
Yes.
what are we doing just going in circles in
Right.
where I grew up?
Yes. Yeah. There's a little flair to it. I did enjoy it myself. It is one of those little things, we're joking for those who've never heard my story about roller skating. For years, there's certain things that I said, I want to do that because everybody does it. It looks cool, what have you. And I was a dancer back in my day,
Oh, that's right. You were a dancer, not a roller skater, because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
fell when you were roller skating.
That's right. That's
Oh, right.
That's right. Yeah, I would dance. The dance floor was open. Robert Fenn was on the dance floor, no doubt about it. So I said, I can translate my moves to the skating rink, no problem. I lived in Atlanta for a period of time, went to the skating rink, got on the floor, and, this was the old Robert Fenn. The pretty ladies were out. I said, I'm going to show them what I got.
Oh, yeah.
I got to that floor. I did probably one good loop. I started to feel the rhythm. I said, good, I got the beat.
I'm a dancer. I got this.
I got this.
Yeah.
Lifted that right foot up.
No.
Swoop. Boom.
That's why I keep my 2 feet firmly planted on the ground.
Yes.
No
yes,
wheels
yes,
for
yes.
me.
And, but I still want it. I still want that moment where I can just do it. The singer, Usher, what have you. He has a Vegas show. We had one, whatever. And he actually did in his concert, I saw, he was
Roller
on
skating.
skates.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
He did
amazing.
it during the Super Bowl.
Yes, I remember
that's
that.
him
Oh,
actually
yeah.
on skates. That's real.
Wow.
He's that good. And other people. So my point is, when I see something like that, I'm like, okay, I can try that. I can do that.
Now, something in my mind says you were a backup dancer for somebody.
No,
You wanted to be, or you
What?
auditioned?
I backed up. For some people. No, there were. The story is.
See, I knew there was
You
something.
and I talked about this.
She was laughing at me, like remembering this. I remembered something accurately. Go ahead.
Wow, I didn't. Brian, I guess I've had more conversations with you than what I thought. But yeah, excuse me. Why I stayed in Atlanta for a period of time. It's just a funny story amongst the family members. I stayed with a relative, and I told him that I had went out with another friend. He and I went out. We met a. She was not a producer, but she was affiliated with the group TLC.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
They're from Atlanta.
And they're from Atlanta.
Yeah.
And so we went to a club. They were in the back, and I wanted to meet them. I had this big thing for T-Boz and all this stuff, whatever. So I said, I'm going to go back there and meet. And she's like, well, we can't meet right now, but they are going to have this little dance thing. If you want to be in the back of one of the videos, whatever, you can do that. I said, great. So I tell my relative I'm at the house. I said, the phone rings. Get this phone call. Let me know. I'm by the phone. I'm not leaving. And this
T-Boz is calling.
yeah, or that manager, whatever, she's going to call. I said, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. And then so my relative, he's by the phone. I'm by the phone. We're like, great. And then so finally, I said, let me go out and get the mail. I go out to get the mail. I come back in. He's asleep. Yeah. And it's just that quick.
How rude.
And I'm like, okay, all right. No calls. He's like, oh, no calls. Everything's okay. Fast forward. The producer, manager, whatever, she called. She's like, I called. I said, what do you mean you called? She said, because we had it real quick. I didn't get the video together and did all the stuff she was telling me, so but no one answered the phone. I look back at it, and then I think just back in the day, you can dial, was it wasn't 69.
Star 69
Star
was
69, something like that. And
Yeah,
it
you
went
could,
back
like,
to her
listen back or
number because I
whatever.
thought she was picking with me. Called her back. Yeah, I was like, dang, that was her number. And I was like, that
You
was my
missed it.
big break.
What was the
My
video?
big break.
I don't know which video. I think it could have been there in this video, Baby, 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 I think it was.
Baby,
Baby, baby, baby. I think that's what, yeah. I think
Oh,
that's what that.
man. I wish you would have been in
Wow.
that video.
Oh my! Well, I mean, I was
Would've been
nobody.
legendary.
Yeah, no, all you saw was just some. I wasn't bald then. You just saw some hair and a smile. That would have just been me.
I would have liked it. I was riding with my my daughter, and Waterfalls came on. Huge hit from the 90s.
yes.
Big
Yeah.
memories for me. And I
Yeah.
thought, immediately, well, that's right. Rob Fenn had a crush on T-Boz.
Yes.
T-Boz.
Yeah, T-Boz. She was like the lead person.
Yes. She, Chili, and Left Eye. Yes.
Oh, I know.
TLC.
Do you have to tell me?
You know that Chili just married one of the Lawrence brothers?
Oh, they did.
Yes.
Lawrence, like Joey Lawrence?
Yes,
From,
Matthew Lawrence, the middle one.
Whoa.
Did not know that. Yes. Nice.
Wow.
They did that.
And Left Eye burned down Andre Rison's mansion.
She sure did.
Yeah.
She
So
sure
we
did.
all know facts.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
You really enjoyed
got
that.
me.
Whoa.
that
I
really
respect
brought
that.
me back.
You're
I
awesome. That was a good
forgot
show.
about
Awesome.
that.
Yes.
Wow.
All right.
Six.
It
Yes.
is 6:19. Time to take a quick break. Rob Fenn with us today on a follow-up Friday here on Mornings with Brian. When we come back, we're going to review these week's topics. We're gonna talk about various things, but we want to give the show to you. What do you want to talk about? Okay, maybe it's an issue you would like, a personal issue, relational one. You want Lauren to solve for you. She'd love that. Personal dilemmas are her very favorite. Rob would help. He gives great
Yes.
advice.
I didn't prove it just now, but
He's a husband, a father. His kids are grown. They've flown the nest.
Yes.
He taught driving school,
this is true. Facts.
volleyball.
True. Yes.
You taught volleyball?
Well,
Co-
she's referring to I'm unofficial. For
Yeah.
volleyball
Oh,
and
that's
for
right.
basketball.
That's right. He's a
Yes.
referee. You could
Yes.
you could ask him if all refs really are blind.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
we got to go to commercial right now. I got to talk to Brian.
We'll be back in just a minute.
Moody Radio is thankful for listeners.
625 WCRF, Mornings with Brian. Our Renew Women's Conference is coming to Canton Baptist Temple on Saturday, September 7th. We're going to give away a pair of registrations right around 8 a.m. this morning. We'll make Rob Fenn pick the caller so that you can be mad at him if you don't win. How does that sound, Rob Fenn?
Not a problem. Bring the pressure. Bring the pressure.
Been a friend of the show for many years. He's also a regular contributor, works for the Social Security Administration. But today, it's just regular Rob, not
That's
work
right.
Rob.
Just a friend.
Just a friend, not representing the United States government.
No, not at all. It's just Robert Fenn here, unapologetically me today. So
That's right.
Rob didn't believe me that I didn't ask, as he said, 6.9 billion other people first to come today.
No, it's a very short list for Fridays.
Yes, that's what
I said
Very
he was
short list.
first.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I said, me? Moi?
Yes.
An opportunity?
Rob Fenn.
Yeah.
Is your wife still mad at me for insulting?
The Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, I think Dr. Pepper tastes like medicine, and she's no longer enjoys the sound of my voice.
Well, she knows I listen to you every day and all that stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, that's Brian. He's a nice guy. You know, he's got his own ways. I was like, yep, that's Brian.
He's got his own way. I like how she put that. That's good. Yeah,
no problem.
I do.
I said, yes, no doubt, no doubt. But then when you said that, she went, and I said, you mean to tell me all of the topics that are discussed on that show, this is the one that gets your goat right here? With the Dr. Pepper versus Pepsi. And I'm the one that's actually has an issue with you now. Because you remember, I sent you a picture after when we came here and when we sat.
We had a little party or whatever.
A little party, what have you. Yes.
You sent me a picture of your wife holding up a shirt, right?
Yes. That meant she had to go and spend some money. She had to prove a point to you by taking a picture of her buying a Dr. Pepper shirt. I never would have had to purchase that shirt if it wasn't for you, Brian. So now she has a Dr. Pepper shirt. I'm
You're
like,
welcome.
oh, I said, okay.
You're welcome.
Great. And I didn't
Please.
give her your response because you said buy a Pepsi shirt or something like that.
I said something like she would look better in a Pepsi shirt.
Yes.
And she
I
would.
said-
That
and I
is
said,
so
nope.
rude.
Yeah.
She looks great.
Yeah, and I said, I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to say anything at all.
That's right.
She'll find
That's
anything.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Nope.
What do you like, Dr. Pepper over there, Lauren?
It's fine.
Just look at that's what she says when she doesn't like something.
I like it more
Right.
than Pepsi. Tell you that much.
Why are you so anti-Pepsi?
Pepsi can be kicked to the curb.
Oh, it can?
I do not like Pepsi.
What are you drinking? Tab?
What? No, I'm drinking
RC Cola?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Gross. So typical. You're just regular. Ron?
Yeah, which would make you irregular.
Well,
So
It's great.
I mean, if the shoe fits.
Yeah.
What's your preference again?
Mountain Dew is my preference.
That's what
Oh, that's right.
and the zero sugars. I've been big into those.
Yeah, a
We've got
couple
Dr.
years ago,
Pepper,
though.
Zero sugar's great.
I used to come in here every morning and you had a big gulp, the biggest one they have, full of regular Mountain Dew and a pizza, basically, right?
Yeah, 44 ounce.
Every day?
Yeah, I'd eat half the pizza or a third of the pizza and then stretch it out for a couple days.
And then Dana found out about that and his blood sugar.
Yes.
And that was over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Went to see the doctor and now I drink zero sugar pop.
Okay. Great. I don't drink any pop at all.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. Zero. Yeah.
What, do you drink sparkling water?
No.
You
Wa-
just drink water
during the week
from a hose.
when we stayed at Brian's house last summer, he was getting groceries for us.
Yeah.
And he's like, what kind of like, sodas or drinks or whatever do you want? And I was like, we're just like water people. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, we don't like drink anything really except water. He's like,
You
no
don't like
juice?
flavors?
No, just
no.
waters.
I don't. Some people like flavored water. Not me. They have these little. My daughters buy these little. I don't know. These little squirty things you put in the water.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
those.
They love them. I'm like, great. For me, no, it's just straight water. Monday through Friday, for the most part, I'll just drink all water. During the weekend, that's when I'll have whatever else I may want to drink. But I got to the point where I like the taste of water. There's different. You ever been to Gervaisi's in North Canton, the restaurant?
No.
Oh my God,
They have really good water there.
Their water is filtered 7 different times. That's what the waiter told me.
That sounds made up.
Man, but it tasted up. I tell you that.
Like
Yes.
you would go there and you could taste it and go, "Hey guys, this is 5 times. Say it's 7. Run it through.
Yeah.
Run it through."
Well, see, I'm very analytical. That's who I am. But I said it didn't matter to me if he said 5, 6, or 7. Could I see if there's a difference versus
you
what
could.
I'm drinking out? And the answer was yes. So I said I like this water.
I think there's a problem with my tongue.
What are those people that do wine? Wine.
Wine
yeah,
connoisseurs.
Sommelier.
Yeah, sommelier.
Oh,
You're a sommelier, but for water.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Do you swirl it and sniff it?
Yeah. I have a certain a gauntlet.
Yeah, you sniff the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know anyone would think that.
I mean, I have had situations where there's bottled water and people are like, oh, like this, I like this kind or that
Oh, I
kind.
don't like Dasani.
Yeah, some people do not like Aquafina or Dasani or Deer Park and whatever, all the different
I'm
brands.
telling you, there's something wrong with me because I open any of them and taste them, and to me, it tastes like water.
All the same to you.
All the same.
Mm-hmm.
Ron,
Yeah.
I can't tell a difference. It's just water. It's wet,
Yeah.
flavorless.
Tap water from another city. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it did. Until I kept drinking water all the time, then I would thought the same thing as you. But once I started drinking water all the time, I'm like, are there differences? And you'll feel the difference too. I remember those Minute Maid lemonade drinks. Oh my gosh,
Those are delicious.
I used to kill those things. Oh, I loved them. But when I started drinking water all the time, and then finally I went to, I don't know, I was at one of my side hustles, which we'll get to, and I drank one of those Minute Maid, and I'm telling you, I felt such a surge of sugar in my veins, in my body. I heard the palpitations or whatever you call it, my heart. I said, this sugar, 40 grams of sugar in here, it's real. I just had a big rush, and I said, no, I'm going to go back to the water. No need to drink all of this sugar.
So your weekend drink is the filtered 7 times water from Canton?
No. You can't. I can't go to Gervais's every single day.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great restaurant. There's different places.
I love
the
that
Crush
you're
House.
like, have you been? Have you had the water?
Yeah.
Who says that, Rob?
Yeah, they're known for much more than that. Great food and what have you. That's just my little thing. I'm weird. I'm awkward like
That's
that.
hey,
I
bro,
like it. That's
join
me.
the club.
That's right. Yeah.
How did
Brian's
your wife
way weirder than you, so.
Right. How did your wife describe me?
He has his differences.
He's got his particular way or
yes,
something.
he has his ways. Yes.
Yeah. That's one of the more gentle ways that's been put in my life. It's very good.
Yeah.
All right.
Good morning, people.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll continue here at Follow Up Friday, 440-546-2255. We got Rob Fenn with us, friend of the show, and from Social Security Administration. He's not representing them today. He's just Rob Fenn. And joining us all morning, 440-546-2255. Follow Up Friday. 6:38 on Moody Radio Cleveland. That's Mornings with Brian. Don't forget, September 7th, the big day at Canton Baptist Temple, Renew Women's Conference. For more information, text RENEW to 440-546-2255. Text RENEW to 440-546-2255. We'll send you back a link. And then listen in. After Ron's 8 o'clock news, we'll give away a pair of tickets, and we'll make our friend Rob Fenn pick the number so you're mad at him. Snaps for Rob.
That's right. That's right.
Rob Fenn in today to hang out all morning. Thanks for doing that.
No, thank you. It's my pleasure. Good to be here.
All right, let's go
Wake
through
up.
some of the week's topics, and we can decide where we want to park. Rob, if you like something, we can go there. If you're listening, if you want a particular topic to revisit or you got a new one for us, 440-546-2255. All right, we started off chatting about 5 ways to make friends without joining a book club. And I had to click on that because I'm not joining a book club. That doesn't sound fun to me.
No. I've seen it. I know there's some way individuals are actually meeting together and just reading quietly, not discussing.
That's a thing?
Yes, that's a thing.
Wow.
Now. That's going around. I think it's in Chicago and different
What?
places. Yeah, you just get together
And you read.
just read, and then
Then you leave.
and you don't discuss the same book. You're reading whatever you want to read, and then you leave. But it's going around different places. That's just not my thing. No, I'd rather run.
And I don't want to hear people trying to get all hyper intellectual on something like, the true meaning of this interaction between these two is clearly.
Yes,
It's like,
yes.
would you be quiet?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you don't know what the author meant. Yeah.
So they give a couple of ideas, like be a regular somewhere, get to know your neighbors, join a group, join a club. There's some ideas.
That's good.
You've never struggled to make friends, Rob Fenn.
Struggle to make friends? No, I don't think I have. I mean, my personality, I know I try to internalize. I know I can come off, hey, bubbly, whatever, because I do like being happy. That's my thing. But I'm also very comfortable being by myself. I just am. If my house, there's no sound, good, no one's knocking at the door, I'm great. So my point is some people think, oh, he has to be involved or whatever. But no, I don't have to have friends all the time.
You're kind of an ambivert.
I guess whatever type of animal that is. No.
Meanwhile, Lauren, has anyone ever called you bubbly?
No. No.
Do you desire to give off the vibes of, hey, let's talk?
No. I don't.
You and my wife were actually the other night at the Indians game describing your preference on getting to know people. Can you break that down? It was something like, I want you to want to hang out with me, but if you ask, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, Sarah gave the example of all of her colleagues going out to lunch, and she was like, hey, are you guys all going out to lunch and you didn't invite me? And they're like, oh, yeah, do you want to come? And she said, no.
And I was
like, yeah, totally.
Connected with your soul.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be thought of.
That's right.
But you're saying
but
no.
I'm not actually going to go.
Yes, and that is interesting that many people are like that. This is not the same thing, but I'm a lead on this part of it. It's kind of like my wife has this thing where I know that when she bought a dinner that she's not going to eat that leftover. And that leftover will be in that refrigerator. And I know it's day 1, day 2, day 3. I get it on day 4. She's not going to eat the rest of that hamburger, whatever. Good. Why'd you eat that hamburger? Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's the thought that she didn't get an opportunity to have what she thought
But she did have the opportunity for 3 days.
Yeah, she had 3 days. But my point is she just wanted to be able to have it. So I'm leading that back to Sarah and you, is just the thought that someone is concerned and wanting me to be part of their group. Even though you know you're not going to partake in it, you just want to have the thought of being able to have something as an option.
So she needs to be asked if you can have her leftovers, even though she wouldn't eat them anyway.
I'm not going to ask because I know the answer is going to be no. She's going to say no. She's going to say no. She's going to say no. So I'm not going to ask. I might as well eat it. I'm not going to waste that $15-20 on that hamburger. I'm going to eat that hamburger. So you can be mad at me later.
That's hilarious because it's exactly the same. You better ask me to hang out with you. Yeah, you want to hang out? No,
No,
I
thank
don't.
you.
Right.
How do you make friends then?
I don't.
you and my wife. That is just a riot. I
Naturally.
love it. But you have close friends.
Yes, I have 2 or 3 very close friends.
They must have forced you to hang out.
Well, when you're in college and you live on the same floor, there's no option. That's who's there, and you're in the room, like a room like smaller than that studio. So, yeah.
Yeah. But people who have that mindset, they get it. There are some people who are just, they can be around a friend who doesn't mind being quiet. In that
Yeah.
silence, they feel comfortable. To other people, you're looking at them like they're not talking. But those two, they feel comfortable not talking, so it's okay.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say I'm quiet.
No.
And I'm
no,
pretty
you
chatty.
are not quiet.
I just am not bubbly.
No, you intentionally exude the "don't look at me" vibes. My daughters were so impressed with you the first time they.
Because I give them the vibes of don't look at me.
No, like you gave out the boss girl vibes, I think is what they called it.
Well, at that time I was.
Well, right, but I mean,
I
if
was
so-
the boss of that situation.
No, you certainly were. But so we were
Literally.
back. We were in the green room before an event we were going to do in Chicago at the Moody Bible Institute, Torrey Gray Auditorium.
Gotcha.
Brought my daughters with me,
Great.
and Lauren commanded that room. Like the President of the United States could have been there and would have sat down.
That's right.
And would have been like, "Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I'll listen now." My girls were scared of her.
Yeah, but see, that's the misconception by watching a person. I'm assuming, so Lauren, check me,
Yeah,
pull
sure.
me back. Is that when a person like Lauren wants to make sure that something is going correct and in order, she could actually be nervous, and she's so certain about wanting to get it right that it comes off as if she's being stern and not wanting others to talk to her. And it's not that she's not wanting people to talk; she's wanting to do what she's supposed to do and get it done right.
Sometimes.
She doesn't get nervous very much.
At that time that Brian's talking about, I was comfortable enough in the position I'd been doing long enough that I really was just, no, you have to listen to me because otherwise
Well, she is a boss.
everything's going to go wrong.
Yeah, no, it's true though. And I appreciate that about you. I was glad my daughters got to see that. I want them to see women who are in a position of authority.
That's right.
Commanding the room.
Yes.
You have daughters. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I tell my daughters all the time, you are leaders. I don't want them to think they'd have to follow us. I tell them when it comes to choosing a mate, what have you, you choose. You're not supposed to be just chosen and taken off. Them days are gone. You're not hitting my girl over the head and taking her off somewhere. You know.
No, they're so true, isn't it?
Yes, you choose. You know, you make that choice. So yes, go Lauren, be a boss. Yes.
What did you do with the asking permission tradition?
You talking about the hamburgers? You going back?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, with your daughters, like, is your expectation that whoever the gentleman is that ends up asking for their hand in marriage, he needs to come to you first?
No, it's funny, boy. You hit on something. I'm just making sure you hit on something. No, I'm not that traditional in thinking that if he would like to marry my daughter, does he have to ask me for permission first? I haven't bought into that yet. However, I am, at the same time, I have the other sides. I'm not always consistent in terms of, but don't blow the horn in the driveway and wanting my daughter to come out. You better come into the house. You better see me, right? You know, you better shake my hand. You better acknowledge the people in this household. We are a unit. So there's that part of it. And now my point is I instill what I want in my daughter so she can understand that he should know how she's operating on what he should pick up on, that he should contact me.
Yeah.
You know, so if she would say, these are my dad's standards, I'm just telling you, and girls will do this. The callers or whatever, you can chime in on this. But girls will let the boyfriend know what the dad wants. You know, because she knows. She's like, oh, I'm telling you, been up over that horn. My dad's going to walk out that door. Right? Girls will.
I love that.
Yeah, they will give that insight. You know, if dudes would be smart enough and just listen to what she's saying, it would make it easier. You remember in the movie Coming to America, you know, and then that line.
That boy good.
No, well, yeah, that. But he said, you want to get in good with the woman's father? You got to get in with the father, something like that. Getting good with the girl, got to get with the father.
McDowell's, man.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's true. That's true. If there's a great relationship between the father and the daughter, if the boyfriend would just listen to the daughter, he may have a better chance of building that relationship.
Was Tim Downey that way? Your dad, Lauren Cuevas? Like, were there certain things you knew he would expect?
I don't think very many expectations. I do also have two older sisters who had lots of boyfriends between the two of them, like billions. So
Let it go, Brian.
the standards are pretty low.
If someone else said that, you'd go, rude, is what you would say, Lauren. Yeah.
They can call in. They know.
Yeah.
They know what they've done.
Yeah.
Eddie actually worked on my dad's roof with him. He helps re-roof whatever you do on roof,
Gotcha.
redo it with my dad before we were even dating. So I think that he got in pretty good with my dad then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
I want to do, I've tried to instill in my daughters, like, they have agency. Like, I think it's important. I talk to them about what qualities to look for in a man and everything.
Correct.
But when Sarah and I were taking our oldest through, there was some curriculum from a ministry about purity and such. Part of it expected, like, her to sign her purity to her parents.
Oh.
And I was like, no.
Yeah.
No, this is about you and the Lord.
Yeah.
And I want them to understand that they are not like something to just be picked.
Yes. Yes. By far.
You get to choose.
You get to choose, and
you have agency.
And why am I, as a parent, pouring into this child, and to grow up, and then I'm going to say someone else determines where you're going to go in life?
That's right.
You know you should have a walk with Christ. You know what the expectations are. And I didn't have to go in Proverbs, Proverbs 22, I think. I didn't have to break all of that down. I want them to know, okay, you're growing up, you have a choice. Now, at the same time, this is the part where you were mentioning earlier, getting older. What they do now as an adult, that's up to them. My time, I've spent as much as I can. I poured in you and did what you did, meaning your choice later on. But yes, I believe that a woman should have a choice and decide. They should be grading these men up and down. Vet him big time. Why would we choose so much for a certain car, the wheels, the style, and all this stuff? But then you come to a spouse and you go, well, as long as he likes me.
No. Get out of here with that. Yeah. No. Girl dads, we know what's going on.
Yes, you're right. And I would tell you the bad parts about boys. I'm like, yeah, if he's doing this, I'm telling you, don't trust him.
That's right.
I'll help him to the game.
I was a high school boy.
Yes. I would tell them.
Don't trust them.
No.
None of them.
No, I like be aware. I'm like, okay, if there's a football player and he does this, basketball player does this, and whatever, I would say everything. I tell my daughters the truth. I'm like, okay, if he's talking to you like this and he's not making those little sacrifices, move past him.
That's
I'll
right.
Let him know.
Rob Fenn. All right, it's 6:51. Time for a quick break. We'll continue Follow-Up Friday here in just a minute.
Mental health needs are skyrocketing. Therapists and psychiatrists
and obeying the Word of God. That's discipleship. The Forge, in theaters August 23rd. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested.
If you're 65 or older, you know this. Seeing your healthcare costs go up and up is frustrating. And maybe you were just notified that your Medicare costs are increasing again, or you're just tired of the massive deductibles. Well, here's some good news. There's a program that can really help with this. It's MediShare 65 Plus. It's an affordable, reliable alternative. You can choose any Medicare provider. You get telehealth access anytime you need it. And MediShare 65 Plus is a low-cost option for those with Medicare Parts A and B, and it fills in the gaps where Medicare stops. MediShare is a Christian healthcare community that aligns with your faith. People actually pray for you. They encourage you, and it's proven, too. It's been going strong for over 30 years now. So call now. You can get one low monthly price for up to 10 years. You're not stuck with increasing costs. You can do something about this today. Call MediShare 65 Plus. Find out how much you can save. Call 833-59-SHARE. That's 833-59-SHARE. 833-59-SHARE.
Keeping your eyes on Jesus in a changing culture can be difficult. Let us help. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio, Cleveland.
6:53, it's Follow-Up Friday. We're reviewing the week's topics, but we can yield to you. What do you want to talk about? 440-546-2255. Rob Fenn in studio with us this morning, hanging out.
We got 2 people saying hi to you on the live stream.
Saying hello to me?
On the live stream, you, yeah.
Well, hello. Good morning.
Glad that you're here more than an hour today.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
People love you, Rob Fenn. People love you. That's why you are a front-facing guy for the Social Security Administration. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
You're a great guy. People love you.
Thank you.
All right. We also talked about the hell in the handbasket thinking. Like, it seems every election cycle, everyone talks about how it's all falling apart and it's never been so bad. But turns out, if you look at studies for decades and decades and decades, everyone always thinks this. The same percentage of people. You polled people in 1940, they would have been like, here we go. The whole world's going to hell in a handbasket.
Yes, yes.
Meanwhile, there's people who wish it was 1940.
True.
So we analyzed that whole thing. We talked about aging schools in Summit County, how there's this challenge, right? School districts often want to try to pass levies to build new buildings. Citizens are suspicious. They should be cautious, obviously, to make sure the government's not spending things poorly. But what are you going to do when Cuyahoga Falls has a school that was built in the Jazz Age when Calvin Coolidge was president? Like, how could that building still be functional well in 2024?
Yes.
Not even in construction strategies, but the infrastructure and everything.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting discussion. And then our friend Dr. Mark Caleb Smith wrote an article called Our Perennial Political Temptation. And it's the idea of what should be the evangelical / Christian, whether you're Roman Catholic or whatever. What's the goal? Is the goal for American Christians to gain power? Are we to change America through political power or not? And the last line of their article sums up the whole thing. Our politics should not be devoted to restoring Christendom, but to revealing Christ.
Christ, yes. I think that's a simple answer.
But many followers of Jesus in America are fixated and focused on gaining political power, and that's how we restore moral Christian ideas in America. Their primary focus is political power.
Well,
that doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, because this is not the same, but this is beyond, again, my total purview, but we're just talking opinions and thoughts here on the show. It's what we do, right?
That's right.
Then that focus, when I got this job, one of the things a manager told me, he said, Robert, if you're going to talk to the staff, it's important that you let them know how it benefits them, because they're not going to do anything for you. They don't care about you. Now, it first hit my gut. I went, you don't like Robert Fenn? Okay, why not? But then I thought, and I took a step back and listened to what he said, because if the individual learns how Christ will benefit their life, then they're more likely to continue to walk in that path. But I think that if you lead them into the politics of it, the politics is going to go stray. That's a weak foundation. You're going to have different sides in what we're going through now, right? But if it's Christ, which is always going to be standing still, the foundation is firm, great. We're going to stay there in that path. So I would not think that, of course, I would like to read more, what have you, but I don't think that's something I can easily buy into, to think that we need to have the politics lead my, quote unquote, my walk with Christ. Not at all. I don't see that at all.
Then we discussed the 7 considerations in the pursuit of wisdom. Dr. Nick Gatsky brought that to us. The Atlantic wrote all about how that America and the world is getting the 5 love languages wrong. It's turned into you need to find out your love language in order to make sure that you are loved well and you understand yourself. The point of the 5 love languages is to figure out your spouse's love language so you can adapt and love them the way they need to be loved.
Got you.
Which is a fundamental principle in the book. And everyone seems to be getting it wrong. You're seeing this on TikTok, I think, Lauren, or like the internets and interwebs.
Yeah, it's become like a personality test.
That's not what it is.
And it's not, no.
I mean, you have to find out yours. It's part of the journey to understand them.
Yeah.
But what's important to you is what Eddie's is.
Right. And there's so many books in the 5 love languages series. There's, military people, there's kids, there's teens,
there's workplace.
There's work, the 5 love languages of appreciation in the workplace.
Yeah.
A kid is not reading that book and saying, oh, this is how you're supposed to love me. No, it's a parent reading the book saying, this is how your kids are asking for you to show them love.
Yeah.
And how, as they grow up, it changes.
Well, it's perfect. It makes sense to have that reaction, meaning how people are, you didn't use these words, but twisting it, because we want to think about ourselves.
We're selfish.
We're not
inherently.
thinking about the Christian basis of that book is to think of others and how we to love others.
That's
so
right.
it makes sense, to hear this twist and turn because people want to say, this is how I deserve to be loved. And at the same time, you should know how you want to be loved.
And communicate that to your
And
spouse.
communicate it.
And in a Christian relationship,
Yes.
they should be making an effort to love you that way.
Yes. So I get that part of it. But then to have this stake in the ground,
That's right.
No, that's not right.
Right. We learned Ron has all of them.
Yeah, I think I did hear that. Yeah.
They're all equal.
All or none.
Yes.
Whichever.
He's easy to love, that Ron Eastwood. What's Eddie's love language? Have I ever asked you that? I know yours.
Quality time.
Quality time. Oh, it's not yours.
No. I think in this season of life, it's a little bit more important because we don't get much of that,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't be my primary.
Yeah, you've hit that phase of life where you'll look at your husband as you're sitting near him and go, I miss you.
Yeah, I usually stay up like way too late because I want to spend time with him, but then I have to wake up at 3:30.
Right.
So
You never think when you get married you're going to look at the person that you live with and tell them you miss them, but it's a thing
Oh, yeah.
in a phase of life. You and your wife went through that when the girls were busy and you're raising the kids?
And then we thought we miss each other, or
Yeah, like you've been so busy, you just don't get much quality time with your wife.
yeah.
She's drinking all that Dr. Pepper.
Exactly. Well, I knew early on. I know how I am. I'm an active guy in terms of I like to do certain things and get out and see what's going on. My wife likes to lay back, whatever, and she's comfortable staying at home. So I knew that my daughters, I was going to get them into athletic events, whatever. And the oldest runs cross country and track, what she did, through college, what have you. The youngest was basketball. And so my point is, I said, I'm going to learn as much as I can about basketball, learn as much. I continue to run. And so I knew I was putting all that time there. And I said, there's going to be a time, I have to make sure I balance this because you have to have time with your spouse. So
You're a smart man, Rob Fenn.
Yeah. So I said, quality time is her love language.
Your wife?
Yes. I knew that's one of her things. And mine is words of acclamation and it's acclamation, touch. I'm forgetting all of them.
Words of
gift.
affirmation,
Gifts.
physical touch, gift giving, quality time, insults. No. Sarcasm.
No, that's not that one. But it may be the other one. But my point is, I knew what
There's
mine
another one.
was, and I said, okay, that's fine. So no, I was just always aware of that. And I have a good friend, and he would tell me because his daughters were also athletic, and he would say that at some point he wanted to make sure that the relationship between he and his wife stayed strong. So it's something you have to carry yourself through while you're raising the kids.
If you want to make it and you don't want to get divorced when they leave the nest, you're going to have to do that.
Exactly.
We talked about a new trend on TikTok where people, it's called bolo knee.
Bolo knee?
Yeah, when you go on an airplane, what you should do is you put your feet up on the edge of the seat, and you sit like this, and you put the seatbelt around your shins, basically. That's what the young people are doing, Rob.
What? Are you serious?
Yes.
One, the seats are only 3 inches long. How are you going to pull yourself up and pull your legs back? And unfortunately, not everybody is that flexible. So are you serious? People are
doing this.
Are you going to keep your feet on the seat the whole
plane?
Flight? You're just hurting yourself.
Yep.
Kids these days. There was the Atlantic thinks you got to take yourself on a date. That Americans reserve our fun activities for when we're with people, but we got to do better at doing things we enjoy on our own as a part of our self-care. Gen Z, you want to hang out with Gen Z and have a great time? Put together a 50 slide PowerPoint and get together and you'd share PowerPoints with each other.
Nah. 50? No. Even though I work for Social Security Administration, I guarantee you're not going to get a 50 slide out of me. Not at all.
What do you call it? Do you call it a PowerPoint presentation?
Well, yeah, I use PowerPoint, and there's other ones.
Do you call it a slide deck?
Nope.
Call it a deck?
Nope.
They call it a deck.
Presentation.
Come on over, bring a deck.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, excuse me.
Right. Yeah. Cards?
Yeah. Anxious generation. Kids are super anxious these days. Certainly it's partly due to social media. Another cause would be parents are super anxious and they're hovering. And parents are super anxious about things they don't need to be worried about.
Facts.
More than a third of Americans have second jobs.
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
We talked about that, and finally, we talked about our nostalgic dishes, which we're gonna have to ask you about it. Ron, it is all about chipped beef on toast.
Yes.
Chipped beef on toast.
I know. I don't get it.
Okay.
I learned a lot yesterday.
Yeah, it's dried beef in a jar that's sliced up,
A glass jar.
and then you put it into basically just gravy.
Think kind of like pepperonis.
Okay.
But
But
to
beef.
me, Ron, are they a little bit crispier than pepperoni?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I don't
get the chipped part. That really freaks me out.
But doesn't chip mean something? It's
Uh-huh.
not. It's not.
It's thin
Yes,
sliced.
Thin sliced. Yes, exactly. Gervaises, they have a nice little.
Do they filter it 7 times?
Yeah, I don't know, but it is great.
Well, we got to get to Ron's news. We'll come back. We'll hear more about what you want to discuss. What do you want to talk about this follow-up Friday? 440-546-2255.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVMN Newcastle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, and everywhere with the Moody Radio app or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
The U.S. is responding to the Mpox outbreak in Africa. It's 7:05. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. The World Health Organization this week declared Mpox to be a global public health emergency. Vedant Patel, principal deputy spokesperson with the State Department, says the U.S. government is sending 50,000 doses of Mpox vaccine to the Democratic Republic of Congo to help fight the outbreak. Several Ohio cities are being named as some of the most stressed cities in the country. Nationwide, Cleveland was listed as the most stressed city in the entire country. Akron was listed in 8th place, followed by Cincinnati, Toledo, and Columbus further down the list. And the Pennsylvania State Capitol building was evacuated yesterday due to a power outage. WHTM-TV reports the electricity was going in and out, and the faint smell of smoke was detected in the hallways. I'll be right back with sports and weather.
Moody Radio is thankful for support from Affirm Films and the Kendrick Brothers, bringing to theaters The Forge. Isaiah Wright needs to chart a better course for his future. Through prayer and biblical discipleship from a new mentor, Isaiah begins to discover that God's purpose for his life is greater than he could ask or imagine. The Forge, in theaters August 23rd. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested. More information at theforgemovie.com.
In sports, Deshaun Watson will not play against the Vikings in the Browns preseason game number 2 tomorrow afternoon. But the Steelers do plan to play Russell Wilson against the Bills Saturday night for that team's second preseason game. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Mostly cloudy with a chance of showers, a chance of thunderstorms this afternoon as well. High temperatures in the mid-80s. And at our most recent update, light rain in Cleveland, 68 degrees. Akron and Canton experiencing some light rain as well, 66 the temperature. Ashtabula, cloudy skies, and 68.
It's time for your moron moment.
Whether you have health insurance or not, it often pays to do some detective work before filling your prescriptions. If you don't have insurance, you can save up to 80% on generic medications and 40% on name brand drugs through Amazon Pharmacy and RX Pass, or find medications at nearly cost at Mark Cuban's Cost Plus drug company. Even if you have insurance, a prescription drug card could help save you money. You can ask your pharmacist to run the cost using your insurance and the prescription drug card to find out which option is cheaper. And that's your Moron Moment.
Moron.
And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It is 7:08 with Moody Radio News.
WCRF 712, Mornings with Brian. It's a follow-up Friday. In an hour, we're going to be giving away a pair of registrations to the Renew Women's Conference. Ladies, you can listen in for your chance to win, or just text Renew to 440-546-2255 and buy your tickets. It's going to be September 7th at Canton Baptist Temple. Rob Fenn in studio for Follow-Up Friday. Whoop, whoop. Snaps for Rob. All right, so one of the things he wanted to talk about, of course, Follow-Up Friday, you can join in with a topic or a comment, 440-546-2255, whatever you want to discuss. Rob caught his eye. He loves talking about parenting.
Yeah, I do.
You raised 2 daughters.
I did.
Well, yeah, it never ends, right,
yes,
Ron? I mean, Ron. Yeah. So there's one author in Christianity Today ultimately said that researchers are right. Social media and smartphones are causing high levels of anxiety in kids. But it's equally true that anxious parents are causing high levels of anxiety in their kids. Mm-hmm. The anxiety levels of parents have just gone off the charts. So out of curiosity, what is that thing that makes you super anxious as a parent? Ron, do you remember what was the big fear when you were raising the kids?
For my daughter, it would be that she'd come home pregnant. And we made it through high school safe. It was college where that bit us. But we've survived. I love all my grandkids, so it's not like the end of the world. You'll get through it.
But that particular anxiety kind of captivated your thinking when you were worried about the kids.
Yeah, that would be one. Like if she was heading out on a date or with even a group of friends, because I had been through high school myself, I know how things can happen, and she was strong-willed, and so, as much as you might say, well, don't go off in a dark corner with a guy, she'd be like, I know better. I'll do what I want. So
yeah,
I was worried, but
because if you have a strong-headed child, whether it's a son or a daughter, they reach a point in high school they're just not going to listen to you anymore,
mm-hmm.
and they're not. I mean, they follow the rules, but you know that you've lost your influence in many respects, and that's kind of what you're saying, right? You'd be like, "Be good." She'd be like, "Whatever, Dad. I got this figured out. I'm an adult."
Yeah, and having a knock at the door and there's a policeman with one of your children. Yep, had that one.
Oh boy,
made
scary.
It through. Kids are doing fine. They become active citizens in their various roles of the, of our country, and they're doing fine. But those are things you get worried about, and you think, oh, this could be the end of the world, and it's just a hurdle along the path. And when I was a hurdler, I'd stumble on those hurdles, so I knew all about that.
Now let's go to the other end of the spectrum. We got Lauren raising 2 little boys. Mm-hmm. What's your greatest anxiety?
Everything.
They have allergies, which makes more like severe allergies.
Yes, they have anaphylactic food allergies. Mm-hmm.
Which is that your biggest fear? It's got to be, right?
It's one of them, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What else is making you worried? You said all the things, but there's got to be a top of the list.
Yeah, so food allergies is probably number one, like sending them off to school or to a babysitter. And if you don't have food allergies, you aren't really aware of how much these things are in other foods, or how much, I ate a piece of cheese, but then I'd wipe my hands off on my shirt. Well, now you're holding my son and that cheese is on your shirt and that is touching his face. And now he's going to have a reaction. So, and anyone that takes care of my kids, I have to teach them how to use an EpiPen. And that's scary. I also think, like we talked about the other day, like your kid being kidnapped or abducted, or
it's such a scary thought. It's just statistically, they'd be more likely to die being hit by an asteroid than being kidnapped by a stranger. But it's still so scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rob, what was your fear? What's the one that would captivate your mind?
Of course, safety was always my concern. I was and am a protective father. But the thing that always stayed in my mind is the people that they're going to be around. I remember the first time that I had to make a decision to allow my oldest daughter to go and stay at someone else's home. And in my mindset was...
a sleepover, you're saying?
Sleepover, what have you. And I remembered thinking, are they going to do those little things? Make sure you brush your teeth at night, so she's over there. She's going to make sure she brushes her teeth when she's there. What are they going to watch, on TV, those things. Because now, again, this is Robert Fenn speaking. This is my child. So I'm about to say what I wanted for my child. And I wouldn't allow my children to watch SpongeBob. I didn't allow my children.
They're pretty rude.
Yeah.
Plankton is mean, and so is Squidward.
Yeah.
But SpongeBob is so sweet.
With SpongeBob and Harriet. Oh, I messed that one up. Harry Potter.
Harriet Potter.
Yeah, Harriet Potter.
His sister.
His sister. Yeah. Harry Potter. And I have these things. You and I, we talk about this. When I watch TV shows, I don't like how the fathers look like they're bumbling fools or what have
That's
you.
right. Yeah,
I did
hate
not
that.
like that. I didn't like when I saw kids acting totally rebellious toward their parents, and the parents were dumb. I don't like scary movies in particular. I mean, I watch some, what have you, but any movie, I'm just giving you some insight on Robert Fenn. If I watched a horror movie or whatever, and if I saw the killer or whatever, or they're getting children, I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't,
Oh,
children in the
no.
corn, all that stuff. My point is, I always wanted to see the role of a child, in TV, in the cartoons, or whatever it was. So that was just my thing, because I didn't want that rebellious. So I was always concerned when the kids went to someone else's home, what were they going to accept? Fast forward in time, my daughters, they became older. And Dad, do you remember when I spent the night over such and such house? Gulp. What happened? Well, there was this movie that they had us watch. I was like, you didn't tell me anything.
Oh, yeah.
When I asked you, how did things go while you were over there? Well, we had a good time. We
That's
ate
right.
popcorn.
They're not going to tell you.
We had licorice. Yeah, life was great.
Rob, I was not allowed to watch rated R movies, but I had one friend. We slept over at his house all the time. They could watch whatever they wanted. I saw all the movies, all of them.
Yes.
Then tell my mom. What am I going to tell my mom that for?
Yes.
She wouldn't let me go back.
Yes, that's tough. So I said, what are the other family members doing? And so get me wrong, because I would try to, you ask certain questions, to that family, or who's going there. Okay, what church did they go to? Or, how do I know them from school? You try to you give all these questions that really just help to make you comfortable with your decision of allowing that child to go there. But the other individual's an adult too. And that's the part about being an adult. Other adults may not disclose all the things about themselves so that way you don't judge them for your child coming to their home. Right, so
I got you.
Yeah, so
that made you pretty anxious.
Yeah, so I'm like,
all right,
what's going on?
Time for another quick break. We'll come back in just a moment and continue talking about the anxiety of parents causing such difficulty for kids today.
Moody Radio is thankful for listeners and support from businesses like Duma Meats and Farm Market. Duma
Tune into the station, gotta hear what they say. Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio, Cleveland from 6 to 9 a.m. Let's dive in.
That's the Rob Fenn Singers. Available for your bar mitzvah.
Oh my gosh.
If you're interested, or bat mitzvah, of course. Mornings with Brian,
Of course.
WCRF. We're doing Follow-Up Friday, and Rob Fenn is our friend hanging out today. We're chatting a little bit about the anxiety that kids experience. Statistically, it's off the charts. Young people experiencing high levels of anxiety and depression. Definitely, research indicates that social media and smartphones are a culprit. But also, parents. This Christianity Today article, I think, is fair in its assessment that it's us parents and high levels of sometimes irrational anxiety. Because as Christians, we're not supposed to worry. Now, that doesn't mean you're sinning if you're worried, but there's a level at which, if you believe in God's sovereignty and you believe in His total control, we can't be consumed by anxiety.
Yes.
And yet, Rob Fenn admitted, because he's an honest guy, and I appreciate this, that it was the sleepover thing that really gave you anxiety about your daughters. And I get it.
And I'll pull back, though. I didn't say I had anxiety. You said
you were worried about it.
Yeah, I had a concern with. Because to me, if I have an anxiety, that's a trigger. I'm going to shut down. I know that's something I have to work on. So if it's a serious concern, I'm going to try to do some fact finding, what have you. But anxiety to me means I'm staying up. I can't sleep while they're over there at that home, what have you, and I'm up pacing. Did the kids call back? Did you call? So I didn't get to that point of it. But yes, keep going, Brian.
But we had I too have had the fear of being kidnapped. And there are, it's very common now, and Lauren can help me with this, but a kid walking alone to the park, never going to happen in today's society.
No, very rare.
Yeah, I didn't let that happen.
I mean, the idea that a kid could ride their bike by themselves somewhere, I went miles away from my house on my bike.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, I went to the gas station all the time.
Yes.
I was going all kinds of places.
But that idea and culture is gone. Like somebody might call child services if a kid is walking alone and they're like 12
that happened
or 8.
a while ago. Some lady allowed her child to walk to school or wherever she was walking around. Yeah.
And yet we looked at the statistics. Stranger abduction, the odds in America of stranger abduction of a kid is 1 in 720,000. You are more likely your kid's more likely to die being struck by lightning, dying of hypothermia, being dead from an asteroid impact, or a volcanic eruption. All of those things are more likely than being kidnapped. And yet we allow ourselves to let this impact our decisions.
Because of being a parent.
Now I'll just be scared of asteroids. Also.
But as a parent, all of us who are listening and talking, you do not want to be that one child out of the 7.
Right.
Oh, of course not.
No, and so that's all we think about is, well, yeah, the odds may not be likely, but not my child. And that's the beauty, and that brings in, that anxiety there. I'm going to protect my child. I wouldn't allow my child to walk around if we were in a grocery store and then they wanted to walk ahead of me and turn left or right and go out to the next aisle and I couldn't see them. No, stay with me. Stay with me. I wouldn't let my kids. Some parents, I noticed, we're in, I don't know, Walmart. Their kids will be playing in the toy section. Sure. And I'm like, whose kid is this by themselves?
Because they are more likely to get kidnapped at Walmart. I'm sorry, they're more likely to have an asteroid hit that Walmart and die than they are to be kidnapped at that Walmart.
Yeah, but
it's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, well, I'm also the opposite. If I am in the aisle and your child is near me and it's just us, I'm trying to find my item, my product, and I'm moving out. You're not going to have me on camera, the person who's next to that kid. I'm out of there.
But what do we do with the fact that this is clearly a statistically irrational fear?
Yeah.
To have all of us. I mean, I bet, Ron, at some point you were worried about kidnapping, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, if you get in a crowded area.
Why do we allow this to consume us when we know statistically it's not a problem?
Because we know factually that it has happened. If not directly to us or an immediate family member, you've read it in the local paper several times a year, somebody is kidnapped.
Usually those kidnappings are by somebody they know.
Today,
most Amber Alerts are like the parent who doesn't have custody.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just today, I had a story in the news of a 2-year-old. Some dude stole a car at a gas station with a 2-year-old in it.
Yeah.
And drove off and Fortunately, he stopped the car, got the kid out, went on down the road. The police caught him. He's in jail. But, if you're the mom of that 2-year-old, your child was kidnapped.
Right.
Still hasn't been hit by an asteroid.
And yet, though, but I think that story actually proves my point. And I'm a guy who's anxious about, I'm not trying to say I'm better than anybody else, because I get worried about kidnapping too.
Oh, yeah.
But that criminal stole a car, did not want to kidnap a kid. The criminal actually stopped their crime to get rid of the kid.
That's how bad the kid was. No, I'm just joking. You shut up back there. No. Get out.
I mean, that's how unlikely a stranger kidnapping is, that even if someone accidentally kidnaps your kid, they're going to stop it.
Yeah.
And so, Lauren,
What?
why don't you just let Trey play in the front yard?
That's not as much about kidnapping as is we live on a very busy street. And I don't trust him to not sprint into the street.
Okay. So let me ask this then. What's behind the anxiety that we as parents have?
Control.
Yes. I think it's
Control over what?
Go ahead, Lauren. Did you want to chime in?
No, go ahead.
In my opinion, my thought, especially for mothers, please don't come after me for this, but to me, I'll give this a little analogy, and this is a scenario you can see it. I have seen multiple mothers. Let's say that it's a wedding that the family is going to. Mom wants to make sure that everybody looks great, right? Dad may have a shirt, maybe a tie. Son may have his little shirt and tie, whatever. Daughter has her cute little dress. Mom. When mom walks into that wedding reception, what have you, mom thinks everybody's looking at her and her family. And if the dad's tie is all unraveled, the son's is all unraveled, and the daughter's dress and her hair's everywhere, mom interprets that as I'm a bad mom because my family does not look good. So the same thing when that child is running around doing have you, moms immediately will sense that someone will think I am not being a good mother because I'm not ensuring that my child is okay.
So you're saying for many moms, the anxiety is they're worried about what other people think of their parenting.
Yes, because moms can do that to each other.
Now, is that true, Lauren?
Yeah.
Is that the source of your anxiety, though? I don't know that that's that way for everybody. I think it's different. Go ahead.
The source of my anxiety is what other people are going to think of me.
Is that it?
No.
What is it for you?
Something's going to happen to my child.
And then what? Like something happens to all of us. And so you're trying to control what? That you're trying to protect them from trauma in some way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because trauma will somehow do what?
I think I'm trying to protect them from either death or trauma.
Okay.
Because they're under my not control, my jurisdiction. They're under my watch right now. I have been entrusted them by God, and I'm trying to keep them safe and protect them.
Right. We need to dig in more to this because I've got some research that's been done time and time again about how much we're able as parents to influence with our control the outcome of our children's lives. We'll get to more of that, plus your thoughts, 440-546-2255.
I'm Barb.
Mornings with two.
737 WCRF Mornings with Brian. Rob Fenn in studio with us today. Thanks again, Rob.
Thank you.
Rob.
So we're looking at parent anxiety. Kids today are more anxious than ever in anxiety and depression, and research has shown that social media and smartphones are a major culprit. A Christianity Today article is saying, you know what else is a culprit? Parents. High anxious, high control parents. And Christianity Today's author said, listen, Christian parents resemble all other parents in society in their level of worry. And that should not be. There's a measure at which we ought to have a peace with our kids, even though it's not saying don't worry at all. We shouldn't resemble the high anxiety that the rest of the world has with their kids. And so we've had a bunch of comments come in. I want to share some research in just a minute. But Lauren, what are you hearing from text messages?
Someone said, if child abduction is so rare, why am I seeing missing children on Facebook every single day? And why are we seeing it on the news every week, another missing child? It doesn't matter what the reason, they're kidnapped by some sick person. I think the numbers are way higher. I'm very curious where you're getting these numbers. I want so badly to believe that these are true, since I'm always worried about my kids and grandkids. And what about the sex trafficking of young kids? It seems like the figures more than the figures you're giving.
So here's what I can tell you. The number I got for stranger abduction, and that specificity is very important.
Yeah.
Stranger abduction.
Yeah, because a lot of times kids are abducted by family members.
Correct. And I know that sounds crazy. In fact, there almost should be a different word for it. Again, oftentimes what you have is in kidnapping cases, you have a parent that doesn't have custody takes the child. That's technically kidnapping, even if it's their biological child. Now, multiple sites, when I did the research, what are the odds of stranger kidnapping? Almost every website you can find, reliable or unreliable, has the same statistic. 1 in 720,000 is the odds. Because stranger abduction is so rare. And then there's statistics everywhere about odds of things happening, like being struck by lightning and everything. And again, dying from a lightning strike is only 1 in 138,000. You are way more likely to die from a lightning strike than you are to be kidnapped by a stranger.
So, you know, the thing about that, our friend Lisa texted in, and I think she has a good point, is she said, our children are so incredibly precious to us that we can't imagine something awful happening, especially if we could have prevented it somehow. And I think that's the difference. I can't prevent a lightning strike or an asteroid.
Correct.
Or a volcano. But I can prevent if someone snatches my kid.
At what cost?
What do you mean at what cost?
Well, the only way to truly protect your kid from being kidnapped is to never let them leave your sight.
Then that's what I'm saying.
There's major consequences.
But that's what I'm saying is, for them not to get kidnapped or harmed in some way, that's something we can control, where the things that you're talking about are like, quote, acts of God that we can't control. So I'm not worried about asteroids because I can't do anything about that.
Can we control it?
Control what?
Like when we get down to God's sovereignty. And I know people don't like the idea that his sovereignty also extends to things that are negative in our lives. We only like to think he's in control when good things happen. But if we can convince ourselves that there's an area of our kids' lives that we can totally control, that's not biblical.
Well, I don't think it's always about we are talking about the word control, true. But the mindset of a parent is, what am I capable of doing? So if I
should do the best I can.
Yes, if I have an ability to block a basketball that's being thrown at your head, right? You know, you can say, well, there was going to be some divine intervention and the ball is going to deflate before it got to your head. A parent is going to think, no, I'm not worried about that. I physically can put my hand in front of you. So I think that's a mindset of a parent is, I'm going to do as much as I can as possible when I can, as long as I can.
Is that good?
I'm going to say it's, if you're talking about deferring God's will and the divine intervention.
For a follower of Jesus, is that a good mindset?
I'm supposed to protect my children.
I don't think you can put it on everything, but I think in this instance, if I can protect my child from getting kidnapped, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just trying to critically analyze this because here's the other piece. I've talked before about I was meeting with a pastor and one of my kids was going through something real rough, and I was blaming myself. And he said, Brian, you need to take your kids off your resume. And he told me a number of stories because pastors hear all these stories. We don't share with each other when difficult things happen with our kids. He said, here's what I mean, Brian. He said, you don't have as much influence as you think you do.
Yeah.
You don't have as much control as you think you do. And he gave an example of a couple at the church that did it all right. You know, if you would look at them from the outside, it's perfect little Christian family. The kids all went to their Sunday school classes. They got A's in school, da-da-da-da. Parents, high control, da-da-da-da. Well, one of the kids is in jail, and the other one is battling as an adult, is battling a eating disorder.
Mm-hmm.
They did everything right.
Okay.
We got to take our kids off our resume. We don't get as much credit as we think when they do well.
Mm-hmm.
We don't deserve the credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't deserve as much blame when they do poorly. And here's where the crazy statistic comes in, and I still have a hard time grappling with this. Research indicates that other than genetics, parents have very little control over the outcome of their kids. And here's how, you don't like it already.
Yeah, because of the word control, I'm looking at the word responsibility.
Right.
I have a responsibility to always protect my family.
You do, but when we take that responsibility to the extreme, we end up with high control, high anxious parents that call the Child Protective Services when the kid's walking alone.
For some people.
Right. I'm not saying we give up, but we don't care.
No, I'm talking about the level. In my mind, I am just as responsible as the next person, for their child, but I am not, in my mind, I'm not extreme. Now, there are people who are extreme who don't think that they are extreme.
It's relative in some respects.
Yes, it's relative.
But what do you do with this? Genetic research has indicated when you look at twins, okay, that are separated by adoption.
Oh, yes, there's a book about that.
Genetic research has shown that we would essentially be the same person if we'd been adopted at birth and raised in a different family. Identical twins reared apart from birth are as similar as identical twins reared together in the same family. Children adopted away at birth resemble their biological parents, not their adoptive parents. And the research goes on to indicate, really, at the end of the day, we do contribute a lot to our kids with our genetics. But in terms of the environment in which they're raised,
right,
very little, if any, influence over who they become as adults.
Yeah, but
not that we shouldn't do the right things throughout the process.
Yes,
but I think some of this illusion, this anxiety, comes from the illusion that if I do the right things, they're going to turn out a particular way and everything's going to be okay.
But if you increase the right things that you do, it may benefit you that they're going to turn out okay. If I lived in a neighborhood that I knew every 5 seconds something bad happened, my responsibility is to get out of that neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? So I have something that I can control, so I'm going to do it. Now, I'm not going to think that when I move to the next neighborhood, nothing bad is going to happen. I'm going to eliminate whatever problems that I do see and try to minimize those.
I think that's a parental responsibility.
Yes.
But I think this writer is correct that one of the reasons kids today are so anxious and so depressed is because parents have gone too far.
I think the problem here is that I think in your mind you're thinking of smaller things, but we've been using the example of being like kidnapped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a problem if you're trying to control everything that happens to your kid at school, like every part of their day. I don't think it's wrong to be anxious about your kid getting kidnapped or hit by a car. Those are things you can prevent and you should be preventing.
But it's the small decisions around that cause the anxiety. Because right now, what do you have? You have whether or not the kid has a cell phone, you got a GPS tracker on them. They're never going to be away from you and away from your knowledge and your protection. And I think the ultimate source of that goes back to some of these irrational fears. We're not allowing free play. We're not allowing kids to be unsupervised for periods of time. And those are some of the development things necessary to build resilience and be able to problem solve. And so it's the micromanaging on the little things that I think we can draw back to the source of some greater irrational fears. See what I mean? I think they're connected. I may not be right about it, but I think they're connected.
They can connect it.
But I understand your point, Rob, that what you're saying is that it doesn't mean we wash our hands of our responsibility as a parent. We need to do our best to protect our children. We need to do our very best to teach them and love them. We need to raise them up in the way they should go. No question about all that. But I think the author of this article is indicating there's a tipping point that we've gone past.
Yes.
That now we've gone to obsessive lawnmower parenting. You crawl with your children on the playground so they don't possibly fall off the playground apparatus. You see?
Yeah.
Like it's gotten to a level of intensity that's creating anxiety in kids. That's problematic. But I don't want to come off sounding like I'm saying, just don't care.
Right.
No, that's not it at all.
Yeah, because we dealt with extremes, asteroids and all this stuff, yes.
Yeah, I think there's things that we can do to, like in the story Ron talked about earlier, maybe you shouldn't be leaving your 2-year-old in a car alone.
Yep.
So much so where a car could get stolen.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you know, I think those types of behavior to prevent things like that, to prevent a child abduction or harm to your child, are fine. I think we're going too far in saying that all of these things are bad. I think there's things that you can do that are preventative, like not leaving your 2-year-old in a car.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't think that's the same as all of the things that you're talking about.
Sure. No, there's a lot of nuance there. Yeah. Are you saying that parenting strategy today is perfectly fine and it's not causing anxiety in kids?
No, I think the correlation is that the parents are anxious and so the kids are anxious.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that passes down from generation to generation. We can look back in like the 70s and 80s where there are all these serial killers and people climbing in houses and stealing kids. And so I think then parents were like, whoa, we need to start restricting. And it started there because that's where you really, really see the free range kids is back in the 70s and 80s. And then people started getting abducted and there's serial killers and there's creeps. And then it starts to like constrict.
Correct. A great example of that, I'm sorry
Yeah,
Brian,
go ahead.
was the Atlanta children, the child murders. You remember that during the late 80s or what have you? They didn't know who this individual was, and there was a documentary or whatever, if you remember that. But I remember going into Atlanta, visit my family, what have you, and my relatives, they had a big backyard, what have you. And I went, of course, pushing, the lines of responsibility. I'm like, okay, I'm going to run to the farthest part of that backyard. My aunt saw that I was going there. Boy, don't you know they're kidnapping people? This is not going to sound right. She was like, if you don't get your little black behind back up here, right? But that's what she said. My mother was like, I got him. And that's what rung home for me. My mother said, I got him. And that meant mom is telling me, I'm watching him. She's telling my aunt, I'm watching my baby, right? That was assurance to me that everything's going to be okay because mom's watching me. So my point, going back to the way that Lauren is saying, it's how the parents react. And I'm going to sound like a bad guy. You just caught me on the soapbox day.
Let's go. Come on.
August 16th. No one wants to say this. You can say that policeman, that fire person, that government employee, that radio
of
host,
which you are one.
Yes, you can say all of. You can say every person is bad. You can call all of those people bad for whatever they do. Bad president, bad whatever. No one wants to be called the bad parent.
Yeah.
And no one wants to accept that. There are some people who have had children that they're not doing everything they should be doing. And it's hard to accept that.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Maybe you just didn't have the right examples. There's certain things that you can learn to get better at, but that hurts to be told you're a bad parent. So every time you get a chance to show how good you are, you're going to do it in order to make sure the kid doesn't go too far in the yard, all of those things. And that's what we're always working against.
I think you're absolutely right on that.
Man, do you think actually right? Man, you better say I was right, man.
No, I think it's a big motivator for a lot of people.
Yes.
As a Christian, we shouldn't be worried about what other people think.
No, we shouldn't be. But we're part of that flesh. It's
That's
there.
right. We got to take a quick break. We'll come back with more. 440-546-2255.
Moody Radio.
Moody.
It's a brand new day. Tune into the station, gotta hear what they say. Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, 6 to 9 a.m. Let's dive in.
440-546-2255 is the number to call or text if you want to join the discussion. 440-546-2255. We're talking about what's the cause ultimately of the child anxiety today that's off the chart statistically. Certainly, it's cell phones and social media, no question. But Christianity Today is saying it's also, perhaps equally, an anxious generation of parents causing it. And so we've been talking about various anxieties. Rob Fenn with us from the Social Security Administration, just a friend of the show today.
That's
not
right. That's
representing
right.
the administration today.
Friends, how many others have them?
And you've been getting some texts from friends.
Yes.
You
Quick,
do a shout out.
Yeah, quick shout outs, to the Philly Gang family, to the Triplet family. I hear all of you sending me the text. I'm getting it, so friends and family. And I got to send a shout out to Christ Temple Apostolic Church, Pastor Bishop Lawrence Nevels.
Hey, friends.
There you go.
Hey,
we
friends.
love Bishop Nevels
Yes,
around
yes,
here.
that's right. That's right. So,
All right. So we're talking. We've been having a healthy debate about what's really going on behind parent anxiety and its impact on kids, and I love that. I love discussions like this. But here's the wild part. Okay, statistically, it seems indisputable that free-range parenting is the healthiest style in terms of allowing kids to free play, to problem solve with each other. Statistics are showing it's the healthiest way to do it. And yet, we're getting more and more protective and shielding of our children in society. We know what the better way is. We're not doing it. Guess who the biggest opponent is of cell phone bans in schools?
free game?
Parents.
Parents. Like, we know that social media and cell phones are not only distracting kids from education, but they are causing high levels of anxiety. So schools are naturally trying to ban them, and parents are the loudest objectors. We know it's bad for them. We won't stop doing it. And so
schools are, again, I'm sorry to interrupt you there.
No,
You're
good.
saying that the phones are causing
social
anxiety?
media and particularly in school, with school things, are causing anxiety, right? And so schools are trying to ban phones during the school day.
I still,
And parents are objecting because they can't know where their kids are all the time and get a hold of them whenever they want to.
yeah, I'm wondering if we're going back to the source. In my opinion, I'm still watching. I think I shared this with you before. When I go into a grocery store and we get into a line, I look at how long it takes for other people how long can they stand still without looking at their cell phone.
Yeah.
And I think that people use cell phones as a means to make themselves comfortable. That cell phone says, I need to be able to do something while I'm not doing something. I can't get through the next person in the line, so I use my cell phone as a reason because I'm around these other people. I'm saying that sometimes I think we're getting to the point where we're using social media and the like as a crux, as a reason why I'm not engaged with other people. So that student who's sitting in the classroom, they're nervous around other students. So they use the cell phone to distract themselves from having to realize that they're nervous around other people. And the teacher is trying to get that student to pay attention to them so they see them looking at the phone. The part is that I think we have a self-esteem issue as a country, as people. We do not want to be comfortable with our differences on who we are. I'm shy. I'm a very outgoing person, whatever it may be. And so the phone becomes the way, the social media becomes the way I can mask that. And
Sure.
And so I'm saying that it's not just that. I want to know what's the reason why I have to have that cell phone. And my parenting, I'm thinking about the anxiety that you're mentioning. I somehow think that my child going to that school and having a cell phone, now I have a comfort level. Well, what happened before that child went home? Left to go to school. What type of conversation did you have? They didn't always have cell phones. My mother and father knew I went to school. They never contacted me during the day. Mm-hmm. They just saw me when I got home, or they picked me up, right at the bus stop, or they picked me up right at the school and walked me home. So I'm just uncomfortable with the thought that I have to have the cell phone to determine how good of a parent I am.
Yeah, and yet
no cell phones,
happening.
I'm still a great parent.
So Dennis wrote that, Brian, I think you're missing the point. You can't rely on statistics. There have been many bad things that happen to kids, and every decade has a parent You got to be alert and watch your young ones at a certain age. You got to let them go as they want to be free, and you always worry about them.
You said that.
Yeah, this is the fun part of discussion, right? I agree with what this individual is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my problem with statistics. A lot of times what happens is that people accept or reject statistics based on their feelings.
Yes.
As a follower of Christ, I don't care, like in theory, I don't care what I think about a passage of Scripture. It doesn't matter how I feel about it.
Yes.
What matters is that the Lord said it.
Yes.
And so I need to conform my life to his expectations for me.
Go ahead, say it.
And so, yeah, there are flawed statistics out there. There's bad studies, of course. But I can't allow my emotions to dictate truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I do as a follower of Christ. And so, I picked out one particular statistic.
Right.
But really, at the end of the day, the odds of something tragic happening to my children is very, very small. I should be a responsible parent. Absolutely. Responsible parent. But I think a lot of people are driven by irrational anxieties as parents, and they're making decisions as parents in a highly anxious way about irrational things. And we should allow our thinking to be adjusted. Mm-hmm. That's all. That's the only point I'm saying.
Yeah, I just don't think you keep saying like free play and stuff like that. I think, which I do with my child.
Yeah, no, you're really good about that.
But the likelihood of a child getting stabbed by a pair of scissors is low, but I'm still not going to let my kid run with a pair of scissors in the house.
Totally agree. Me neither.
That's right.
So I think we have to do preventative measures as much as we can. When it starts to control your life and it starts to be the only thing you ever think about, that's when there's a problem.
Totally agree.
But I still think, yeah, I'm going to take those scissors away from you. I'll give them back when you learn how to use them right.
And see, what I'm trying to figure out is where the disagreement comes in then, because what I'm seeing is that statistically, sociologically, helicopter and lawnmower parenting has become the norm.
Mm-hmm.
High anxiety, high control. Goal of not only rescuing kids from danger and problems, but preventing them from ever happening in the first place. And this is very unhealthy.
I think,
and so I'm trying to figure out how we dial it back, because I'm agreeing with this person that anxiety is probably the source of that parenting style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So where's the disagreement?
I think the disagreement is what things are we preventing and what things cross the line as to helicopter parenting. What's the things that are okay? Is it okay for me to take the scissors away from my kids, or is that helicopter parenting?
So what's your interpretation of that? What is helicopter / lawnmower parenting? What is the problem that's born out of anxiety? It's obviously not, running with scissors, to me, that's like just smart common sense. Don't do that. Prevent your kid from doing it. Don't let them play in the street. Don't touch the hot stove. That's responsible parenting. Don't leave them in a hot car. Yeah. We don't throw caution to the wind, but clearly anxiety has caused lawnmower and helicopter parenting. So where is that line? That's a good question, Lauren.
Yeah, that's the question that I'm asking is, what are you saying is the line?
I don't know.
When does it become helicopter parenting? What can I not be doing? Otherwise, I'm a helicopter parent. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that does make sense. And I think we ought to try to answer that question.
Yeah, where's the line of, oh, now I'm functioning out of my anxiety, not out of my responsibility?
Because I think to Rob's point earlier, I think most people who are helicopter or lawnmower parenting don't think they are.
Yeah.
They think they're just being responsible parents, keeping their kid from running with scissors.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But clearly that's not happening. They're doing too much. Ron's mother told him to leave the house, and she didn't want to see him until the lights turn on. That may not be the best move, but now you're not allowed to leave the house.
Yeah,
unless I know exactly where you are at every moment.
Yeah, there's a. I look at the fruit of that child. Then what's happening? In my opinion, my mindset is I can almost talk to adults now, and I can tell you can't handle the word no, and some of that stems from you not being told no when you're a child. And so I'm saying that I can see if I'm too much involved, how can my child handle that no or that yes from, no, you can't have that cookie. Do they jump on the ground and start having a tantrum or what have you? Or can my child look at me? No. And of course the kids were like, well, can I have it later? Right?
Yeah, mine always asks, oh, can I have one tomorrow?
You can have it tomorrow. Right. Yes. Yes.
We'll see how tomorrow goes then.
Yes. And so I'm looking to see my style, how it's being translated and coming back to me from my child. And so that's how I would gauge, there's certain things that I would just let my kids do. Not Janelle from the show, I would see, she would talk about her kids. They would be at the oven cracking an egg and scrambling some eggs and what have you. And I'm like, oh, I didn't let my kids go to the oven. I'm like, you stay away from that, right? So, but she knew that her child could do that. So I'm saying that you see how the kids react, and then I would determine, and I knew what type of person in my mind that I wanted my kids to be. I wanted them to be able to hear no as an adult, know how to adjust to that, and or know how to push it. There's just a thin line there.
Well, we got to get to Ron's news here, and when we come back, Lauren, I think your question is the key here that we got to talk about is, obviously we need to be responsible parents and do responsible things to protect our kids. But if we're creating anxiety in them by being lawnmower and helicopter parents, what is that line that we've crossed to let anxiety dictate decisions that are unhealthy? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that here in just a minute.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVMN Newcastle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, and everywhere with the Moody Radio app or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
Ukraine's President Zelensky says forces have overtaken the large town of Sudza in Russia's southern Kursk region. It's 8:04. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. He made the announcement yesterday, also saying that Ukraine has captured more than 80 settlements in the area. Zelensky's advisor says their forces are attempting to destroy Russian military facilities, push Russian troops away from the areas where they're launching airstrikes into Ukraine, and create a buffer zone in Kursk. A recent report shows more Ohio drivers are getting speeding tickets than most other motorists in the nation. Listings compiled by online insurance marketplace Insurify places the Buckeye State in second place tie with Wisconsin for speed citations per capita. And Pennsylvania State Police say a new report shows that its traffic stops are statistically unbiased when it comes to who is pulled over. The report was released this week that documents that black and white drivers are stopped at approximately the same rate. I'll be right back with sports and weather.
Counseling, it's what God created you to do. When you earn your Master of Arts in Clinical Mental Health Counseling from Moody Bible Institute, you'll be equipped to help others become who God created them to be. Study at Moody's Chicago or Michigan campus, where you can secure certificates in the areas of marriage, family, and couples counseling, as well as trauma-informed counseling. Learn more and get started on your counseling career today. Go to moody.edu/counseling.
In sports, Deshaun Watson will not play against the Vikings in the Browns' preseason game number 2 tomorrow afternoon, but the Steelers plan to play Russell Wilson against the Bills Saturday night for that team's second preseason game. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Mostly cloudy with a chance of showers today. There is a chance of thunderstorms this afternoon, and our high temperatures will be in the mid-80s. At last check, cloudy skies now in Cleveland, 68 degrees. Akron and Canton, cloudy and 67. Clear skies in Ashtabula, where it's 70 degrees.
It's time for your moron moment.
Whether you have health insurance or not, it often pays to do some detective work before filling your prescriptions. If you don't have insurance, you can save up to 80% on generic medications and 40% on name brand drugs through Amazon Pharmacy and RX Pass. Or you could find medications nearly at cost at Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drug Company. Even if you have insurance, a prescription drug card could help save you money. You can ask your pharmacist to run the cost using your insurance and the prescription drug card to find out which option is cheaper. And that's your Moron Moment.
Moron.
And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 8:07. With Moody Radio News, I'm Ron.
812 WCRF, Mornings with Brian. In a few moments, I'm changing the time of it because we're having so much fun here. We're going to, if Lauren will allow it, we're going to wait to give away the tickets here for a little while.
Sure.
Thanks, Lauren.
Gosh, when's Dari going to be back? This is too much for me.
You're doing so much extra. Thank you for how hard you're working. She's covering for Daria today, running the live stream, like answering the phones. Making the coffee. She made the coffee this morning.
Oh my gosh, people, you have no idea. She made me. Was it French pressed?
Yes.
And this coffee is, and I don't drink coffee. This is some good stuff. This must have been filtered 7 times or something.
Yeah, this is from a guy who knows his water.
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
It was good. I said, oh.
And that, by the way, again, Rob Fenn, our good friend, longtime listener and contributor to the show. What we're chatting about, really getting folks riled up, and I love this because when people have a good, robust discussion, it means we're thinking. And as followers of Christ, we've got to use our brains. God gave us one to use it, okay? So we're talking about anxiety. Kids have off-the-charts anxiety. Social media, definitely a culprit. Smartphones, definitely a culprit. A writer for Christianity Today said, but in all this collective hand-wringing, we tend to overlook a closely related and equally pervasive problem, unchecked, socially normalized parental anxiety and the smothering parenting style it produces. And today what we have is helicopter parents and lawnmower parents. And Lauren was making a really good point off there. You got to share that about, people are saying just use common sense.
Yeah, people are saying, if you just don't let your kids run with scissors and you don't let them touch a stove, that's common sense. Well, today, not letting your kid go around the aisles of Target or to walk down the street to school alone is common sense today. So it's not common anymore because that's what parents think that they're supposed to be doing. Because if you let your kid wander around the streets by themselves, you're going to get CPS called on you today. So it's no longer common sense. And that's why I think about this a lot when we talk about these types of subjects and you say, well, it's helicopter parenting or lawnmower parenting. Well, what does that mean? Because it's not the same anymore.
Right.
The times are different.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the
expectations are different.
Because if you were to find a Christian parent who's basically a helicopter parent, they would think in their mind, oh, I'm just doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But they're actually harming their children by being overprotective.
Yeah, but they don't see it as harm.
They don't. They think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, because harm, if a person, this is not the same thing, but just walk with me on it, Brian. I believe that if everyone smoked a cigarette, and when you smoked a cigarette and you saw a dark spot appear on your throat, your neck, your face, less people would do it.
Right.
And I'm equating that to the harm. If you had the physical ability to see emotional harm on a child, you were less likely to do it.
Yeah.
But because you protected that child from running with the scissors and what have you, you're thinking they're okay because they did not get hurt that moment. But you didn't see the emotional intelligence that was delayed or underdeveloped.
That's right.
Because of you protecting them.
I can give you an example of being overprotective that I see all the time. My kids kind of chuckle about it. They have friends who, once they get the driver's license, let's say the speed limit is 35. The minute they hit 36, the phone rings. It's mom. What are you doing going so fast?
Yeah.
Why are you, slow down? Because there's particular parenting software you can put on a phone where you can tell how fast they're going.
Oh, my.
Or
That's a lot.
There was one time one of my kids left the driveway and turned right, not left. Phone rang. Where are you going? You told me you were going to go X, Y, and Z. Why are you going there?
Yeah.
This is a teenager.
Yeah.
That is helicopter parenting.
If you knew your child was doing something that they probably shouldn't do, you may have to do that.
But tracking them on your phone.
But
the tracking
I'm not
is
talking
what
about
you
the
mean?
36. I'm talking about you said you were going to go to the store, but I know this child has a tendency to not listen, but I gave him a chance, and now I got you on the app. And
But
you
your
went left.
mother couldn't do that.
My mother couldn't do it.
And
yes.
you went to the wrong place where you weren't supposed to go
Hey,
the
man,
time.
my mom, you listen. Don't be saying this type of stuff, man.
You know what I'm saying?
We're using a different example. Don't use me as an example.
You can use my example.
But yes, you're correct.
Because what happens is when kids go, they take risks, they encounter problems in their formative years.
Yeah.
That's where they learn some of the essential skills to becoming an effective adult that's not riddled with anxiety. But when we're helicopter or lawnmower parenting, we're preventing them from the opportunity to do something risky, maybe a little unsafe, that's going to have them like figure things out.
To what benefit, though? I mean, I hear what you're saying.
How did it benefit you?
How to lie. That's what I'm benefiting from. You know?
What you learn is the consequences of lying.
Well, hopefully, that's if I get caught.
Right.
That's if I get caught.
But you turned out okay, Rob Fenn. And you did a whole bunch of
trying to
things.
say that I lied to my mom. I see how you just put that jab back in there.
Lauren, I don't want Rob in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Oh, I can handle it now.
What?
I'm a grown man. My mom ain't gonna do anything. I'm sorry, Mom. But yeah, I ain't worried about that.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it's not healthy for a parent to be constantly monitoring not just the speed, but the location of their teenager. That is helicopter parenting. You don't like that?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Can you let me think? Sheesh.
36.
No.
You're helicopter parenting me.
Yes.
I think that the difference is that technology wasn't available, and now it is available.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't an option. So of course we can say, well, back in my day, my parents didn't do that, and that's what was best because it wasn't an option. So it's not that they chose not to do it. You can't say your parents chose not to track you. They didn't have the option to do that.
Well, just because you have the option doesn't mean it's healthy.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, it's easy to look back and say, well, my parents didn't do that, and look what all the things I did. Well, who knows if your parents did have the option and they would choose to do that. So I don't think it's like, oh, just today's parents are bad because they have the option to do it.
Well, I'm not saying today's parents are bad, but I'm saying that I think it's unhealthy for a teenager to have their mommy call them if they're going 36 and a 35.
Yeah, I think that's a problem.
And I think it's also a problem if a teenager is out doing something, problem solving, ends up stopping at this store, not that one. You call them and complain and ask what they're doing. That's not healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we
You
raised
gave
our
them a curfew.
children.
Let them come home when they're supposed to. Let them make decisions. They've got to learn how to live their lives.
They have to learn. Yes, I think there's just a balance. You know, I was taught also when I grew up, don't forget your last name because you represent me out into that community.
There you go.
Right? And so that's an important part of it. We also, as adults and parents, we raise our kids to be adults. And then when they start acting adult-like, we get uncomfortable. So that's what you're talking about is so that way they can go through these trials and errors and become better and productive adults. And that's what you're looking for. That's why they have to have the mistakes and what have you.
Yeah,
and that's where you're going.
Because what when we remove any possible discomfort or problem from their lives before it happens, they have no idea how to handle issues when they come up. That's the consequence of a helicopter and lawnmower parenting, is that you end up with a kid who goes away to college. Somebody was sharing this with us. I think it was Daria. A girl busts into the RA's dorm room, sobbing because she's never slept anywhere away from her mom before, and she just couldn't handle it. That kind of crippling anxiety is created by overprotective parents.
Okay. I mean, be that individual, and I don't know. I guess I get uncomfortable with having to use the extreme to justify. Not everybody is a helicopter or a lawnmower parent. There are various degrees underneath that, and it still could just be as wrong. If that kid is in college and they themselves never adjusted, you don't have to have one example to say later on in life, this is how it's going to benefit me.
Sure.
So I'm saying I don't know why she cried, what have you. She couldn't handle it. You should be able to stay away from your parents by the time you're at college. And I don't know if it's just that parent. I don't know.
But what we know is that we have historic, unprecedented levels of crippling anxiety in kids, and that we know that parents are part of the cause. And parents have a really hard time accepting responsibility for that.
Yes, that's what my point was earlier. Yes.
Parents, right now, I've got parents mad at me because that I would insinuate that any of us, me included, could be overprotective, and that could cause harm to our kids.
Yeah.
And yet we know we're causing harm to our kids. And so at some level, we have to look at ourselves in a spiritual mirror and say, I am a sinner. I am capable of being overprotective and harming my children.
Yes, I'm capable.
And so I must examine myself and figure out how I'm being so I can be better. I need to grow in my spiritual maturity and therefore my parenting maturity. We got to take a break.
I'm good with that.
It's hard to stop talking to Rob Fenn, let me tell you.
Bring it.
And Lauren and Ron, but we do have to take a quick break. 440-546-2255.
Ladies, are you looking for spiritual encouragement? Moody Radio invites you to
with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland from 6 to 9 a.m. Get your coffee in hand. Let's start the day.
Big in the reggae crowd, this show.
Yeah, man.
That's Rob Fenn joining us for Follow-Up Friday, 440-546-2255. Let's do this after the 8:30 break. We'll give away those registrations to the Renew Women's Conference. Really compelling discussion. What?
That means I'm going to get all the phone calls.
Yeah, you're doing everything. She's covering for Daria today. Daria's out. Lauren, thanks for all. You're doing so much.
Oh, sure.
You're the best.
That's what Daria does. It's not just like no one does it.
I'd be in a ball on the floor crying.
Yeah, you would.
I can hardly handle having a screen in front of me. I have to use the mouse with it.
You want a helicopter parent for that, then. They'll fill in for you.
But we're talking about the reality, statistical, sociological reality, that kids today are off the charts anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Social media is causing it. Smartphones are causing it.
Part of it. That's my discussion.
It's part of the cause.
Yes,
it's a
part of the
contributor.
cause.
Yeah,
Yes.
there isn't a singular cause. There's multiple causes.
Yes.
And one of them, undoubtedly, is helicopter and lawnmower parenting. But what's fascinating is as we talk about this, we talk about God's sovereignty and our trust in Him, any implication that anyone listening to this radio station may be overdoing it causes a lot of stress. I'm telling you right now, I've screwed up a lot as a parent. I'm not coming from a high horse here.
Yes.
I mean, somebody's helicopter parenting because we're looking at everybody doing it. And yet the idea that some of us are doing it wrong is making some people very offended.
Well, I think it's like what Rob said earlier. No one wants to be the person that is being said that they're a bad parent.
Yeah, and spiritually, aren't we, like, it's inevitable. You're going to be a bad parent.
You're going to make
sinner,
bad decisions, or not the best decision, if that makes it more palatable for everybody. You're going to make a decision that there could have been better choices so that we can have a better outcome.
Or I can say it more, you know me, I'll say it more bluntly. You're going to fail as a parent.
You're going to rip the Band-Aid off. Okay.
You're going to fail.
Yeah.
Oh, it's damage control, basically.
Yes. Which one is going to be the better off? Yeah.
Now, I would say the Christian has to believe that it's inevitable that you will fail as a parent.
Because you are a sinner.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
And so then what's the problem? You follow me? Like, there's people who believe that they could, with all the right protections, be the perfect parent that raises their kid that turns out perfectly.
Yeah, I just still like striving. I mean, that's just who I am. And when people say, well, I'm going to smoke a cigarette, I don't know where I'm getting these cigarettes.
Yeah,
cigarettes.
I think you need a cigarette here.
I don't know why that is. And I never smoked them. I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe it's ministering to somebody out there. I don't know. But but the individual will say, well, you're going to die from something anyway, so I might as well use that. I still say no. I told my kids, don't smoke. Now, if you decide to do it, that was your choice. So I'm still going to do all I can to become the best parent that I can throughout life. Period. So I'm not going to, I guess what I'm saying to you, Brian, is that defeatist, it sounds a little bit defeatist to say, well, hey, you're still going to fail as a parent. So therefore, whatever happens. It's already in their genetics. So they're either going to be a good person or going to be a bad person. I can pull my hands back.
Yeah, and I don't want to make that the message. But what I will say is, to what Lauren said earlier, because we can track our kids' location. The technology exists to also know how fast they're going when they're driving with a new driver's license. Just because we can do that doesn't mean that it's wise to do it.
Yes.
And so I'm not going to give up as a parent and say, well, there's nothing I can do. God's in control. I'm not going to try. No, but we're going to have to intentionally say, I feel anxious. I could do this, but I'm not going to.
I'm with you. I'm good with that.
And I think it should be much easier than it is.
Yes.
For us to go, you know what? I got to let go of my kids. I got to trust the Lord.
Yes.
They're going to go driving. I can check their location. Not going to look at it.
I'm good with that too.
But what's normative now, I can, so I'm going to, because that protects them.
Because then we fall into self. We fall into that self-esteem issue. We fall outside of God's will, thinking, okay, I still got to do something. And that's when that happens.
Because I can.
When I hit that button.
What about you, Lauren? I mean, you really, no, she's doing something. She's waving at me. Look, she just gave me Wow, I love when she does that.
I didn't look over the side.
I have no idea what you guys have said the last 5 minutes. What was you saying? What's your question?
No, remember you were questioning, well, I could track my kid's location. So what's wrong with that? There's a point at which you got to stop it.
I don't think that's what I said. I think it's an option available. I didn't say that I could do that.
Okay, so should a parent, well, you got a teenager, you've given them a time to be home. You can check their location constantly and call them if there's someplace they said they weren't going to be.
I think it's a kid-by-kid basis. If you have a kid that has repeatedly broken your trust and is repeatedly doing things that you've told them not to do, asked them not to do, you've given consequences, you've given things, you've whatever your family chooses to do for punishment, and they're still doing it, I think it's appropriate. Because they have to be held accountable in some way, and it's, oh, you want to go do all this bad stuff I've told you not to do? You don't get privacy anymore. Because you're not listening, you're not being truthful, you're being dishonest. I think it's a kid-by-kid basis.
So then what does helicopter parenting and lawnmower parenting look like to you then?
I'm not sure if I've really thought much about what I think it looks like. I think it's not allowing your kid any freedom to learn and play and figure life out on their own. Like, we go to the wading pools. My son is 4. And I let him have conflict with other kids. And I don't jump in when he has conflict with other kids until it's like time, like, okay, you're not going to keep doing that to my kid because that's dangerous because we're around water.
Right, yeah.
But I let him have conflict with other kids. He needs to figure out how to share. He needs to figure out how to be generous. He needs to figure out how to say, hey, stop pushing me, or hey, stop spitting water on me. He needs to be able to learn to stand up for himself.
Which actually happened to your
son. It literally did.
So are other parents allowing that, or do they jump in right away?
I see some of both. I've seen both.
Yes, and I think that's part of it. Is going back to how does a parent react and what do they do? I'll use my officiating experience.
Yes.
I don't know how you do that. How do you be a referee in a sporting event? Parents are so awful.
Yeah, the kids are most of the kids are always great.
Yeah,
coaches can have a moment whenever, but they're good people too. The coach just wants to win the game. He wants to teach the kid whenever. So the most part, the coaches are great. It's just the parents who are not used to seeing something happen. My child got hit, so therefore you have to justify a call of a foul, whatever it may be. And so I think that it's the parent who has to recognize where they are. And so that moment when you said that kid was splashing water onto your kid or whatever they're doing, you have to say, okay, do I need to interject myself? And that feeling of an anxiety, am I controlling it? So am I too involved that I'm losing my spirituality? I'm losing my Christ-likeness. I'm losing something out of this thinking I need to interject right heavy. So when I see that child, my child, act out, or someone doing something to my child, it's natural for me to, you better put your hands off my kid. Don't do that. I get that. But I have to see, why am I getting involved? And so that's the same thing to me for that call when I'm watching and when I'm officiating a basketball game or whatever it may be, is your child's going to be okay. And what your point is, you don't need to. I've had a mother think that she's a good mother because she walked onto the court.
That's right.
She thought, this proves how good of a mother I am because I walked onto the court. But what she didn't realize, going to your point, the child now says, everyone else thinks I cannot stand up on my own. I need my mom to walk onto the court. And that moment for that child was a moment that they could have grown a little bit more.
That's right.
I can get back up. I'm okay, Mom. Don't worry about coming out the stands. But she thought she was a great mother because of what she did.
That's right.
Yes.
Good point. It's 8:32. We got to take a break. We're going to tell you how you could win a pair of registrations to the Renew Women's Conference in a few moments here. But Rob Fenn, it's my understanding, I think you got to head to work.
The bald man's got to run.
Thank you, Rob Fenn, for spending the morning with us. We appreciate you getting up early.
It's my pleasure. I thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate the listeners for putting up with me, allowing me to be me so you can be you. But all praises to God, man. I appreciate it.
I think your wife should take you out for that filtered water in Canton. It's 7 times filtered.
7 times.
You deserve it.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate everybody.
We'll see you soon, okay?
That's right.
All right. We'll be back here in just a minute, the rest of us, to give away those registrations to Renew Women's Conference.
Are you looking for candid conversation from a biblical perspective? You found it. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Good morning. It's 8:36. We're going to give away a pair of tickets here in just a minute. So fun to see all the text messages and calls. Thank you so much, everybody, for reaching out. My favorite one, somebody's driving their kid to college right now.
Yeah.
Like while they're listening.
Are they planning to spend the night in the dorm?
I hope not. But yeah, okay, so we've got Renew Women's Conference coming up so soon here. Lauren's going to be emceeing it with Daria and Kelly.
Yes, we are.
Wow.
We're making plans with Kelly yesterday for her to get here.
Oh, fun.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Did you pick out your outfit yet?
No, but I have been thinking about it.
You're going to wear that girl.
We're all three of us will be there.
Matching outfits?
Yeah, maybe we'll have headset mics.
Nice.
You could do
Sparkly
that.
outfits.
Coordinated moves.
Exactly.
I'm not doing them well.
No,
don't do that. I was like directing traffic. I don't know what I'm doing. But you go to the live stream if you want to see it. We're on YouTube.
Yeah, and just a mention about the live stream. I'm keeping it 4 squares, even though one is empty, because I can't even bear the thought of changing that right now.
Which one? Oh, this is it. Yours that's empty?
No, it's Rob's. Don't touch anything. Just leave it. No,
Across
Rob's.
from you.
Yeah, but you said there's 4. Oh, right. Yeah. So this one over here.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh,
I'll just have to
gosh.
walk
I just
over
can't.
there once in a while.
There's only 20 minutes left. I can't even bear the thought of changing it to a 3.
That's fine.
So
We're grateful for all you're doing. So are you wearing an evening gown or a prom dress or anything? Or
no,
pantsuit?
maybe
Do you have pantsuits?
I have one.
I don't really totally know what I'm saying.
It's
even.
navy.
Because she was a girl boss. She has to have a pantsuit for
Isn't that part of the rules with that?
Yeah, today they're not as much like full. The suits all matching, but it's a blazer. Blazers are big.
For professional women?
Yes, blazers, but it's not. You have matching pants necessarily. I have
Okay.
one that's an actual suit that's like a matching set.
You should wear that more often.
No one even sees my legs here.
What do you mean? Ron sees your legs.
Oh, I guess he is over there.
He'd really know you're in charge if you
If
had
I
the
wear a
pantsuit,
pantsuit?
a matching pantsuit.
We'll see. I've thought about it.
Okay, I think you should one day, and we'll
Should
all
I wear
be
it
like,
to Renew?
no, wear it to work. But
I'm
we'll
not
be
gonna-
extra
I
obedient.
am not putting on a pantsuit at 3:30 in the morning. That's the last thing I'm doing at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, regardless, if you need to be motivated by finding out what she's going to wear, that could be a reason to go to Renew.
Wait, hold on. Before you get any further, we had a comment from the parent that's taking his kid to school.
Oh, good.
And he said, no, Ron, not staying at the dorm with him. He would not have that. We will be on
Good.
the road to Ohio again by 1 this afternoon.
Good for you.
Try to hold in the tears until after you say goodbye.
You can do it. Yay, Mom and Dad.
You can weep in the car, but I couldn't. I remember I couldn't wait for my parents to leave. It was like, would you guys just get out of here?
Yeah, my roommate brought her entire family. So it was like all 4 of her siblings, her parents were in there. And my parents were like, okay, bye.
They couldn't. Well, I mean, part of it is
I
same
lived
city,
close.
and your dad worked at the college, so
Yes,
it's
exactly.
not like they wouldn't
He's
see
like,
you.
all right, see you Monday.
I thought I would be a mess, but I wasn't with Grace.
Yeah, no, you said your littlest was. Broke my
Oh
heart.
boy! Oh gosh! Yeah, my little boys were weeping to say
So
goodbye to their sister.
sweet.
They love their big sister. Were you a puddle when you dropped off your rocket?
No, not
Toledo
too
rocket?
bad. It was very frantic in
It is frantic.
moving
I
into the
like that.
dorm. It was because her freshman year she did stay in a dorm.
Was it that high rise at Toledo?
Yes.
Yeah, man, and so many people.
Yeah, and they
And the
wheel
bins
out
and-
these bins. Yeah, and you're trying to put things in carefully in the bin, and then
they don't
get
want you
them upstairs and find the right room. And just so many people, you didn't have time to really get sentimental. You were just surviving.
Yeah. Well, safe travels. Glad you tuned in today.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have one more thing to say.
You're in charge. What do you want?
I'm upset. Our friend Hollis reminded me we did not call Rob baby girl. He was here for 2 hours. And we didn't call him baby girl. He is so baby girl, Hollis. You're right.
And he didn't call you Shaq.
I know.
Rob is
I think we were
convinced
out of our routine.
that's what it was. He was
So-
sitting in a different place, but yeah, he thinks you sound like Shaq. In your cadence of speech, not your tone of voice.
Well, yeah, my voice is not nearly as deep as Shaq's.
And his isn't as high as yours.
Yeah. But our cadence, how
Rob,
we talk is the
You
same.
are so baby
apparently.
girl. What does that mean again? He's cute?
Yeah.
Rob, you're so cute.
No, that's Rob. Are you talking to Rob or Ron?
Well,
No,
Ron's,
not
Ron's,
Ron.
Ron's, Ron's cute too. Okay. We're going to give away tickets now.
Yeah. Okay, you can go now.
The Renew Women's Conference, Saturday, September 7th, Canton Baptist Temple. If you want more information, text RENEW to 440-546-2255. Featured speakers, Taylor James from New Community Bible Fellowship, Glenna Marshall, the Dr. Julie Slattery, a panel discussion, that girl, the whole kit and caboodle.
Oh, goodness.
Yep, it'll be a hullabaloo, maybe a kerfuffle. Would you like to win a pair of registrations to the Renew Women's Conference? We will take caller number, Lauren?
4.
Caller number 4. 2255 440-546-2255. Call right now. .845 WCRF. Ron, you got to nudge that drummer again. He thought he was done for the day. But we have a winner of a pair of registrations for the New Women's Conference.
Chris and Maslin. Woo!
Way to go, Chris. You did it. You and somebody else. It sounds like a cowbell.
Yeah.
I need more cowbell.
Yay, Chris.
You got to do that more often. What was that?
My water bottle. Sounds like we're at a high school football game.
That was Lauren. We love her. She's great. She's doing so many things today. Thank you, Lauren. And congratulations, Chris. You've got a pair of registrations now to the Renew Women's Conference happening Saturday, September 7th at Canton Baptist Temple. Ladies, better get your tickets. Text RENEW to 440-546-2255. Are we done with giveaways for this thing, or are there be more in the days ahead?
Oh, Brian, please.
There's more next week?
There is going to be 4 pairs every week for the rest of the time.
Oh, wow.
Until the conference.
Until eternity.
Until the end of time, actually.
Now, you can't necessarily rely on that.
No,
you
of
got to
course
get your
not.
tickets, but
Right.
we will be giving some away.
Oh, we're giving away lots, but
You're such a giver, Lauren.
lots, but it has a cap. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
4 times however many weeks we have left? That's how many.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
No cap. I'll tell you that.
Oh my.
Right, Ron?
Yes.
That shirt is very drip.
No.
Thank
I'm never
you.
going to get it right.
And your fit is fire.
He's so proud of himself.
How do I say the drip thing again? How would
Just,
I tell him his shirt
I have
looks
drip. Or
But he
these
can have
drippy
drip.
shoes.
But I can't say drippy, you told me.
No, you said that shirt is drip. You would say that shirt is drippy. So I understand it.
Ron, that shirt is drippy.
It feels dry.
All right, we're going to take another break here. We have a few minutes. We have our Friday song. Still time for you, 440-546 8:51, Mornings with Brian, WCRF, Moody Radio Cleveland. Again, ladies, text the word renew to 440-546-2255 and get your information about Renew Women's Conference. Can't wait to see you there. There's like 4 minutes left, and apparently...
Oh, I almost just spilled my entire water everywhere.
Are you okay in there?
That was so scary. Yeah, I'm fine.
Apparently, the internet's asking for my tater tot hot dish recipe.
Yeah, someone texted and asked.
Well, I was hoping it was the whole internet.
No,
though.
just the one is fine.
I'm still a little bothered. Like, I'm willing to, and I can't wait to try your mother's recipe for chicken and dumplings. I'm going to try Ron's. I don't know how. I think I put in the cart that chipped beef in a jar or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try that just so I can, connect to your childhood
It sounds
somehow.
like biscuits and gravy, which sounds nice to me.
But you won't try tater tot hot dish.
Yeah, because you were mean to me about it, so.
I'm sorry. How about that?
Wow, the first time in a month, Ron, that we've been talking about this. This is the first time you're apologizing for being rude to me.
I'm sorry I was rude to you, Lauren. Now
Thank
will you
you.
make it?
Will I make it?
Yeah, make the Tim Waltz version.
No, because my children can't eat that, so it's a waste for me at my house.
You could make it for you and Eddie, and you could have a romantic meal together of tater tot hot dish.
Why would I make an extra meal in the day or week
Because
than I
you
already
love your
have to
husband
do?
and you want him to have good food.
He doesn't want that.
How do you know?
I know him.
How can you, Ron, solve this problem? How can you want?
Ron can't.
How can you not want something you've never tried?
Why don't you ask all of your children that?
Yeah, because you do, like, you look at things
I get
and
the
you're
vibes.
like, I don't want that.
I got the vibes.
When you're a kid, you look at spinach and you go, I don't think I want that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've been thinking about making some tater tot hot dish
Please
for you
do.
all.
I'd prefer you to make it and I try it than me to make it.
But I feel like if I went to the grocery store and just got those ingredients and went to checkout, they'd be like, $50, please? And I love you guys, but right now.
Okay, and so you want me to do that for 2 people who could eat it and you won't even make it for 4?
Yeah.
You would make it for 4, but you want me to make it for 2.
That's correct. You need
Wrong.
to eat at home.
Yeah, and then I have to make a full meal for my children. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
It's a no for me, dog. You can make it and I will eat it.
By the way, we're all still waiting for your chicken and dumplings recipe.
Okay, Miss K, send me the recipe.
I really would like to try to make that, and you're not sending it. So I may have to make tater tot hot dish or
Yes,
casserole
you
or
will.
whatever. But by the way, if somebody asked for the recipe, I can't find the recipe card of one I made, but I made
have
one
it
off
somewhere.
of Pinterest. If you just if you're not on Pinterest, it's worth it for the
What
recipes.
are you doing?
Like, seriously.
You're not on Pinterest, where are you?
One of my kids who likes doing little projects recently, hey, can I get on Pinterest? I was like, yes, you can.
That's very cute.
You just have to go and search for, let me find the recipe here. Tater tot. Boy, I've been making a lot of things. Tater tot casserole. Look it up. It's in there. It's all over the place.
Look it up.
It's not hard to find.
You sent it to me. I'm going to try to find it. And if I can find it again, I'll post it.
Yeah. Yeah. Epic.
Okay.
Any other things I should make from Ron? Ron, what else did you have growing up? You had chipped beef on toast.
Mm-hmm.
Corned beef hash, probably.
Yes, I'm sure we did.
Oh, that's nice.
My dad loved some corned beef hash.
Hot dogs, hamburgers.
Okay.
Roast chicken.
Ron is a simple man to please.
He also had city chicken, probably.
Yes.
Which is actually not chicken at all. It's pork, we discovered.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said, Brian, tater tot casserole is the bomb and will become a staple in your life.
Oh, no.
It
trust
already
me.
is.
Yeah, no, I love it. I went to college in Minnesota, and they made it for the college kids, and it was a big day because it's so good.
Like in the dining area?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's that good. All right. With that in mind, we're almost done with the show, but hey, I tell you what. Cleveland's own Jason Champion, and Are You Ready? Special shout out to Alan Perry, world's greatest engineer
Alan!
at this radio station. You can hear our voices because Alan makes all of that happen.
That's exactly right.
You're the man, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
He said you're the man.
Say something.
I don't think he can hear you, right? Kinda, he said. It's called headphones, Brian.
If this station works great when you're listening, it's because Alan made it happen.
That's right.
That is true.
So
No cap.
Pray a big thank you to Alan.
Yay, Alan. He's on the live stream.
He is?
Yes.
People have always wanted to see him. Oh, he's gone now. He's gone from the live stream.
He's elusive.
All right. You have a great weekend. We can't wait to talk to you.